Go. This is Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV. Now here's Gary, Matt, and Jimmy.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
How many happinesses can you find in a Tuesday? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is a 15 Happiness Tuesday.
Live it up. Hell
on
yes.
Gary and Matt. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we live in a world where on the January 6th of 2026, Nebraska men's basketball is in first place in the Big Ten, and they've already played 4 games. And I got Mike DeCourcy telling me that Nebraska, nobody in the country has 2 better wins than Nebraska, Arizona maybe, that they could be a number 2 seed. This is a bizarro world. In the bizarro world, where Nebraska lost a quarterback to Kentucky. But was it the agency or was it the agency of Nebraska football? But when you're 19-19, optics look bad, especially on the heels of winning last night in Columbus. And then that news comes out. It is a Taco Tuesday in Championship Town, Bozeman, Montana.
Yep.
And NFL Black Monday yesterday might have gotten me my OC, or it could have shown you that Arizona, that's not a very good job.
No.
Never has been.
Good morning. How is everybody doing?
I'm doing
on
great.
A Tuesday, going up on a Tuesday.
I'm doing great. I'm doing incredible. Your happiness and your excitement about this basketball team immediately lifts up my spirits about stuff. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I am
grumpy.
I'm ridiculous.
That's true.
I'm
Speak
already,
the truth, brother.
I'm already stressed about
Reach
things.
from the altar of Hoiberg.
I'm already stressed about things that are going to happen Saturday night. Okay, I've already been thinking about
Sports wise or
sports
okay.
wise.
Like
I'm
the Bears.
I'm already like tuned in to being like a ball of anxiety about it.
Yeah,
and so
that'd be kind of a waste of a season if you lost to the Packers in the playoffs after winning the division.
Thank you.
Well, I can see why you're stressed. Ooh,
So-
that would be bad. That would just ruin the whole season. You'd have to sell back your gear that you bought over the vacation.
Dude, yeah, it'd be like, well, honestly, at this point, I wouldn't mind $100. But the thing is that I don't know. I'm also too in this kind of like post-holiday seasonal depression a little bit, where it's just like I'm being real with you. I'm opening up here. I'm like I don't have a ton to look forward to. Like I was looking forward to the holidays so much, and like being with all my people and
Can we
everything
get back
like
to
that.
his happiness?
Well, no. Where
15-0, baby.
I was feeling great.
Now
I'm
I'm
like,
kind of sitting here and I'm like, I don't know like what I'm looking forward to. Like the elimination chamber is so far away to where I'm like, that's like my next. Now Nebraska basketball has lifted me up out of that because of how
Your team's
great
in the
they are.
playoffs.
Yeah.
You gotta
I know, but I'm more
do
stressed
it.
about
Here's
it.
what you need to do. Okay.
I thought you were confident it's over yesterday. They're gonna win.
I know my confidence
you were
is now.
dogging on fellow Bears fans. Now you're one of them.
Well,
Just like us. Just like us.
I think you called it out immediately that my confidence was masquerading in a lot of fear about what is going to happen on Amazon Prime of all places.
Well,
Uncle Al?
So you know the backstory there.
The backstory is that they all wanted the television.
Yeah,
they
they were the first or second pick.
and the NFL wanted to have nice little,
They threw a bone to Prime. They
basically
gave him a really good bone. They had a
they
lot
gave
of
him the
meat on
best
that bone.
they got the best one.
Yeah.
There are a lot of. My dad called me yesterday and was complaining. To
Oh,
me
nice of him
about-
to do that.
Well, he does that all the time.
morning, Dad.
Him and I have a great relationship.
You guys
But he was-
talk every day. Are they
no.
sad that you've gone back to school?
No, they weren't ready to send me back to Omaha, but they're like, this was good.
You should have been on Friday. I
We
thought
got
we
our
were getting
fix
your
it.
dad.
No.
Oh.
My mom did come in at one point. I gave you the opportunity a little bit to like talk to her and you didn't take advantage of it.
Really?
She came in at one point. I very clearly said, thank you so much. And I thought you were going to catch on that she was
Oh.
giving me a couple.
Oh, just have her text me.
No, but we appreciate the offer.
Okay. Welcome in, everybody. It is a Tuesday morning. So I'm not a doctor or anything, and I haven't stayed in a Holiday Inn in a long time. I don't know many people that have stayed in a Holiday Inn recently,
Not
but
in a while.
I
you
have.
want to be happy?
I do. I am happy. I'm very happy. That's what I said. I said I was kind of coming out of
fighting it here a little bit.
No, I was kind of coming out of like a post-holiday depression.
You want to be happy? I'll show you a clip of some Sam Hoiberg plays last night that I cut up that I'll make you happy.
You cut up your own cut of Sam Hoiberg plays?
He's gonna go all Hubie Brown.
Hey, the empire is expanding. I got to be prepared.
What's the empire? What?
Don't worry. Announcement coming soon. But you want to be happy, and I appreciate this because my drive-in drives through a little bougie neighborhood in central Omaha.
Lights are still up.
I love that people on the 6th of January still have their Christmas lights on. That is happiness. During COVID, people put up Christmas lights in the middle of the summer. It was great.
Sure.
You would be in the dark of the night or in the morning, and it'd be lit up, and Christmas lights bring happiness. How many times are you driving around and you look at Christmas lights and you go, oh, man, I wish I could get a flat tire.
Never.
So I'm glad that people still have their Christmas lights up because it is a big moment in your home when it's time to take down the Christmas decorations. That's like, ooh, you got to redecorate. You got to move some things around. That's like a big moment. But for those homes that still have the Christmas lights up and lit, thank you very much. So maybe you just need to get in the car at night and drive around.
Yeah.
Drive like to this area around here, the Dundee neighborhood. Yeah. There's a lot of really, really nice homes that have huge light displays.
Sure.
Most of them don't have the inflatable snowman or Santa Claus in the front yard anymore. That's been replaced by the inflatable Brandon Frager.
But here's the funny thing. You've actually made me happy because now I realize that I don't have to do the cleanup in my house anymore of the Christmas stuff, because that typically was one of the worst days in my house growing up because we have a Santa Claus collection.
Yeah.
And we have like 40 different.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
No, I'm not talking about the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, set that is outside of the house. I'm talking about inside the house. We have like, plastic Santas, and they're all like different. Like there's a Santa that's surfing in Hawaii, and there's a Santa that's like,
of course,
fishing, and there's like a Nebraska
Santas that are playing poker.
Is there a bear Santa?
There's a bear Santa. There's a Nebraska Santa. There's a Santa that's putting mustard on a hot dog. There's a golfing Santa.
Santa.
We got to all put them back in their boxes and whatnot. It was the worst growing up. Yeah. So I'm happy actually that I don't have to participate in that.
I apologize to Mr. Frager. I was looking at the TV and there's somebody up there. There's Brandon, Braden Frager. Hello, white boy Rick. Okay. Let me give you the lineup.
It's one of your better nicknames, by the way.
Dude.
He's awesome.
They got some bad facial hair. They got some weird first names, but they're 15-0. All right. Before Uncle Gary gives everybody a little TED talk that has nothing to do with the fan base, but outside of the fan base. Sam McEwen will join us coming up at 7:30. No, I'm not going to go there. Also, Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi will join the show. That's all part of the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys of John Higgins Weather Guard, who kept Kissinger last night.
Yeah,
called
a good game.
Yes, he did. So here is the TED talk.
Okay.
About last night. And this kind of goes back to a theme I presented yesterday on the show about this basketball team. Who was 15-0 in their first place in the Big Ten? They played 4 games.
Yeah.
So it's not like they played one game and they're like,
It's not like they're 0-0.
Yeah. They played 4 games. If you get on national TV and the question on the Chiron is Nebraska legit?
Oh, God.
Please, everybody, turn that off. They're 15 games into the season. They are kind of passing the halfway point. And if you are still doubting Nebraska and you ask the question, is Nebraska legit? That is on you as a lack of a ball knower, or you're being forced to do that by a producer because you don't know what else to talk about this basketball team. So you're going to go, Nebraska's not supposed to be here. What are they doing here? I don't know if they're legit. You know what? Trust your eyes, watch the games, and then decide what level Nebraska is on. But if the first thing is, we don't know if Nebraska's legit. Well, they've gone into Champaign. They've gone into Columbus. They beat Michigan State at home. So if you are doing that, whether it be national, local, whatever, that is on you. Yeah. That is a tell that you don't know what else to talk about this team, because there is so much to talk about this team that tells me that they're a team of winners that know how to win, know how to make winning plays, and they are 15-0, and they have won 2 games on the road in the Big Ten, where that is not easy to do, and you don't apologize for winning games on the road. Now, with that said, thank you for joining the
No,
TED
you're
Talk.
totally right. You're
I mean,
totally correct.
that's just
I mean, it's
that's-
lazy. It's lazy
It's
TV.
the low-hanging fruit.
Yes.
I understand it hasn't happened around here before, okay? And there are still plenty of people that are like, well, I'm going to wait for the bottom to fall out. Well, I'm going to try and help you here, okay? I don't want the silly silo at Adventureland to be your ride where you get in and you're standing on a floor, and then as it spins around, the bottom falls out.
Sure.
And then because of the gravity, you go and you're just hanging on the wall. It was a great ride. I don't know if they have that there anymore, but the silly silo at Adventureland was fantastic as a kid. So I was like spitting.
No, you're good. You're good.
Last night, that win in Columbus.
Yes.
Well, Nebraska at one point was up by 14 points, were they not?
They were, yeah.
And then Ohio State made a run to get back into the game.
They did.
A little test
And then
for adversity.
Nebraska made a run, just a late 9-0 run if you're scoring at home, to put the game in a good position for Nebraska to win.
Yeah.
Make or miss sport. Ohio State misses a 3 when it's 72-69. Nebraska wins the game. That game last night, to yours truly, showed me more about that basketball team than the game on Friday night did.
Oh, I believe that.
I think
Road?
that
Yeah.
that game,
the way they won, where they were up 14,
Yeah.
Could have lost,
and they
but
weren't
dug in.
shooting well in the live by the 3, die by the 3, and then all of a sudden, though their best offense was cutting to the basket and some back screens, and for an offensive-minded coach who is changing people's opinion because they're like, oh, Fred can coach defense. Last night showed me more about that basketball team that's in Lincoln than Friday night. I'm not discounting beating a team that has a 9 in front of their name when you played them.
But this is different.
Yeah.
This is
last night, winning on the road on a short turnaround, especially the quick start that you got off to that said, hey, we're not going to lollygag here. We're not going to be like, oh, we got Michigan State hangover. Last night, that's who Nebraska basketball is.
that was their boys to men victory yesterday. That
not
was
the end of the road.
No, it was not. I mean, it
I
was.
hope not. They got many games to play,
That'd be
including a
weird.
huge one at 11 a.m. on Saturday.
It reminded me a lot of the Illinois game where it just seemed like they were getting punched in the face over and over again, and Illinois had plenty of opportunity to take their home crowd's momentum and go on a run that put them up 8 and then put Nebraska on the back foot. And it just seemed like anytime they needed to answer, they did. And you said about the defense, man. I feel like this team, they're always double teaming somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just they're so good at always helping and putting constant pressure on the ball handler. That one possession late in the game, right, where the guy has I think it was Tilly. He had a size advantage on Hoiberg, and he kind of loses the ball. He picks the ball back up and he turns to the right. And who does he run right into? Brink Mask. Like I felt like that happened to Ohio State all game, where it's just there was always help and then always rotation. Their defense was great, and you're right. They when they played Michigan State, they were on the front foot the entire time because they were at home and they had that awesome crowd and they had the momentum. When they were playing Ohio State yesterday, because of the opposite things, right? Ohio State had the crowd and they were at home and they were playing the ranked. The crowd was pretty good. Crowd was pretty good.
Hold on.
Crowd was pretty good.
Did you have the volume turned up on your TV?
No.
What do you mean the crowd was really good?
It was pretty good. There were people who were cheering. They were getting up on
Like
their
a
feet.
handful.
No, it wasn't that bad.
That was no,
it wasn't
that was
that bad.
That crowd
Not-
for a Monday night and no students. First of all, that arena is way too big.
Yeah.
They built
It
that
is.
arena. They built the Schottenstein Center, 19,000. And I know Godden kept saying over and over that there were 13,000 there. And, you know, they do one thing at Ohio State, so you can see that whitewash court. That was rough. I don't know what was rougher, when Minnesota did it at the barn that one year where they whitewashed the floor,
Sure.
or what Ohio State has. They only illuminate the floor. It's the NBA style lighting that you see more and more in college. But when they would do some wide shots, there were not 13,000 people there last night.
I'm just saying.
More
That
impressive
crowd-
to win when it's
that crowd was not intimidating
I'm not
last night.
saying that they're at Cameron Indoor Stadium, but it was definitely a home game. And there were moments where Ohio State
Yeah.
definitely could have went on a
Yeah,
big
the
run.
TV also let you know that Ohio State probably was the number 10 team.
What do you mean with the
just
graphics?
the conversation.
Oh, sure.
Like,
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Michael Red. Yeah, is he back?
you know, maybe that's the chip on the shoulder, is everybody is doubting Nebraska, and you just keep chalking up wins. Because like there was,
Well-
it just felt kind of like on the broadcast last night, and I like both of them.
Sure.
It's just who you would have not known who was the number 10 team in the country last night.
I agree with that. I think that the conversation they did definitely because look, I don't think that we get so obsessed with the preseason rankings and we get so obsessed on like what we projected teams could be and we get so obsessed on what we think was going to happen
bracketology, by the
that
way.
we always I feel like the people who doubted teams like that are always willing to go so much quicker back to the no, I was right the entire time than I was wrong.
That is
and that's
lazy.
why we have
Hasn't
those,
Indiana
and
football
I
shown
agree.
us anything? We got to stop paying attention to the helmets, and we got to work in the
Yes.
real time of, you know what? Maybe it's just 1 year, but that's a good basketball team. That's a good football team. Stop looking at the helmets. Look at the people that are inside of the jerseys. That's all I'm asking.
I think the whole conversation
And that
about,
wasn't on you. That's just
No, I know, I
I've had
agree.
that sentiment for a while now.
But I think it's just like we've had these conversations about this basketball team as in we see it. Like you see it. Like the bottom falling out. I feel like we've been talking about like what is the bottom because they just play consistently good basketball, right? If you just know what good basketball looks like and you know what communication looks like and you know what playing your role looks like,
You
and
can
know
tell
what
they love playing
if
with
you-
and for each
if you
other.
know what good ass players look like, that's what Nebraska has. Nebraska has 9 good ass basketball players who know how to
Yeah.
play together.
And they might not have an all Big Ten guy.
No,
They might not have an all Big Ten guy.
Well, maybe not all Big Ten first game. I mean, Rink.
No, like yeah, I'm talking all Big Ten first team.
Oh, sure.
Which
No,
is
yeah.
which is a kind of a tribute to the way this is constructed. But
36-team
like
league.
like last night, I keep saying this over and over because they're older, they're connected. Everybody knows a role. You know, they didn't. You know, Rick Mass didn't have a great night. The best Franfer, who you know between Creighton and Nebraska is Sanford.
Yeah.
Sanford didn't have an exceptional night.
No.
But Frager off the bench had
So good.
15, and Nebraska outscored Ohio State's bench 22-love. Hoiberg did Hoiberg things. He's a good pickup in fantasy basketball because he's going to get you some points, some
Always
rebounds,
was.
some assists, and
He
some
is.
steals. And then you got Cale Jacobson, who, you know, gives you about 12 to 15 minutes.
Really good
and,
minutes.
And they're just going to be like solid minutes. They're not going to be above and beyond of, oh my gosh, this guy should be playing more. They're well constructed. But last night, to me, that's why I keep saying last night showed me more. If you're still on the fence about this basketball team than Friday, is they're on the road, they're up 14, shots aren't falling, and they finished 8 of 29 from beyond the arc.
Yeah.
And Ohio State's starting to make some shots now. Little surprised that Ohio State's not more athletic. 1 through 5.
I was going to say that too.
And Thornton,
I agree
Thornton
with that.
didn't get going until the second half, and they missed a lot of bunnies.
He does that sometimes, though. Thornton does.
But so you're up 14. You're on the road. You got off to a great start. Ohio State finally settles in, and Ohio State starts to come back, and you're starting to settle for shots. And it looks like Rink is gassed.
yeah,
Looks like guys are tired. And Ohio State gets back into the game, and then it's a dogfight back and forth, and Nebraska didn't collapse. They stuck with the plan, and a lot of it has to do. You look at Nebraska's bench. You look at Hoiberg. Like Fred there's no panic. There's no
Yeah.
panic on their bench. Like there's no pacing up and down. There's no hollering at the officials on every single possession. They stay under control, and I think that goes a long way in when Ohio State made the run, Ohio State got the lead. Nebraska, the roof didn't collapse, and they just hung in the game and they stuck with their plan. And you know, they didn't deviate for what they wanted to do when that game got tight. They
Yeah.
kept doing the same thing. Now, they hit the offensive glass. Hoiberg's tip out on a ball that's a scramble in the paint. You know, they started some more back cuts.
yeah.
It just that shows me why this team will not have a stretch this year where they lose 4 or 5, win a game, then they lose another 3. Is that they are equipped to handle the ups and downs of a game and hang in there. And at some point, you just have to say, you know what? They're a really good basketball team, and we're going to see where this goes.
We're halfway through the season and they haven't lost yet. I don't understand why it still is a dialogue with anybody as to them.
Well, I
not
mean, that's
being a good team.
I maybe we make a thing today that this is the last time we stop acknowledging those people that are doubting this basketball team. Winning is hard.
It is.
They're 15-0. They're 4-0 in a great conference, and they've won 2 games on the road in Champaign and in Columbus. And past history will tell you that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
They just need to keep stacking wins and see where this goes.
I like your observation of Fred on the sideline, because to me it indicates that he's coaching like a guy who's got a good basketball team. Because when you are freaking out on the sidelines and you are being erratic, it's because you trust that the wheels are going to fall off.
Well, even in the huddle, they show them everybody trusts everybody.
Exactly.
Everybody's on the same page.
And by the way, the trust that he has in Frager to call that elbow ISO late in the game, to trust him, the fact that he's got a redshirt freshman like that, and he can say, all right, hey, we need a bucket right here. We need a momentum swing right here. We're going to give it to this guy, even though we have 7 year senior, and we have dudes who've been playing so much more basketball. We're going to give it to the redshirt freshman. I thought that showed incredible. I thought that was a great call from Fred, and then Braden Frager to answer the call man, let's put the fear none aside, and like the fact that I kind of like that he's a bit of a Richard head. Like I admire that. I think he's just a really good basketball player. Like,
he is.
Like
he's got a chance to play for some money.
He's really quick off the ball. Like when I liked what Fred said in the press conference when he was like, they were really pressuring us, and that's why we gave it to Braden, because Braden did that kind of happened against Michigan State too. And he was the only one who could get off, those defenders. He's fast off the ball. He's got a good shot. His step back is awesome. Really good touch around the rim. And then the fact that he's practically a freshman, not even just a redshirt freshman, because he skipped his senior year of high school, and he's that nifty around the basket, using his feet, stepping through things. He's impressive, man. He's an impressive basketball player.
I agree. He's a piece in this. Another sign of this team. And again, a lot of the stuff that we're talking about this morning is not new.
No,
you've been
it's
following.
not.
It's just I'm glad more people are putting eyeballs on. Yesterday was like a prime day because it was the first day back to school, work for a lot of people.
Sure.
It's 5:30. They're looking for something to do. Maybe this is the first time they've watched a full Nebraska basketball game this season. So all of this stuff is not new. But another sign of how well constructed this team is, and they are very unselfish. Like, it doesn't need to be rink masked every night. It can be Frager scores 15.
Yeah.
They were up 10 at the beginning of the game, and 8 different guys had scored.
That's a great stat.
I mean,
that is a great stat.
That is, and the other storyline that's developing is about Fred. Is you look at midway through his career at Nebraska, and we're in year number 7. I mean, he's been at Nebraska longer than he was at Iowa State. He made a mid-life at Nebraska coaching move. He was never on the hot seat. By the way, I know that for a fact. He was never on the hot seat. That's another bad low-hanging fruit, that he was on the hot seat. He was probably very much helped by Scott Frost not being very good. Okay?
Sure.
So that's the reality of it. But Fred was never on the hot seat. Now, maybe in his own mind, he was like, if I don't turn this thing around, this is going to be a bad look on me. But look at what he did. So he changed the culture of the program. He changed his staff. You cannot overlook the continuity that he has with Nate Lesnar and Ernie Ziegler. Those 3 being together now for multiple years, and guys that have been in the program for now multiple years, get old, stay old on your coaching staff.
Yeah.
Get old, keep old guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That all goes together. I mean, there's a blueprint that across the interstate Rule can look at and go, man, I'd love to have that, and that. But Fred, midway through his career at Nebraska, and, Trev was hard on him at the beginning. I mean, Trev looked at their budget. Trev went on trips. Trev paid a lot of attention to the expenses and things like that. And all of a sudden, Nebraska basketball had eyeballs on him when Moose kind of left him alone. And Fred just kept with it, got some knuckleheads out of the program that were your leaders. No, you have got to have a knucklehead, but he can't be the main guy.
Yeah.
So he changes a little bit of the culture and the guys that he's going after. When people say, hey, man, Fred, you need some more NIL, he's like, no, I think I got the right amount of NIL for what I want to get.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd always want more. But he also changed this. Fred Hoiberg has always been known as an offensive guy, especially in the half-court offense.
Yeah.
He's put on clinics where he explains some of his different half-court sets. And because of who he has running his defense, and Fred has leaned into defense, you watched that game last night. I bet if you were an Iowa State fan, and Fred is beloved still in Ames.
Sure.
Okay? And it's kind of interesting that you got TJ and Fred and Iowa State and Nebraska are both,
playing great basketball.
Yeah, they're unbeaten.
Iowa State's what, 3rd in the country right now? They're great.
So if you're an Iowa State fan, I bet you watched that game last night and you knew Fred is an offensive wizard. Guys like Niang, Morris, on and on and on. You went, man, when did Fred figure out defense? I mean, that's kind of like
Gary.
Fred adjusted to Nebraska instead of Nebraska adjusting to Fred Hoiberg.
Sure.
And you are seeing the fruits of the labor at 15-0 on the 6th of January.
I was thinking, how many times has Ohio State, like, they kept having to pick up their dribble? Like they just kept having to pick it up, and the weak side kind of helped defense, especially when they would force these guys baseline but also too, what they lack in size, they make up for in the ability, especially in the paint. You can't get to the paint and there not be at least two guys that have their hands up, and they do. Now, I don't know the statistics here, so I should probably go and look this up, but just from me viewing, I think this team does a really good job of contesting without fouling, especially under the basket. Like they are very disciplined and hands up, vertical. They make shots really, really tough. And then I think yesterday too, Berke had 7 rebounds. Like it was 8.7 rebounds.
He had a dunk.
I mean, he did have a dunk. Got
a terrible mustache. They got some terrible facial hair on this team.
They got a lot of really interesting, just
top
the top of the hair, the facial hair, everything.
They are constructed like a Nebraska basketball team should be constructed.
Sure,
they're
white.
Like, that one alone.
I mean, that
Matt at 1620thezone.com.
Happy January 6th.
I think we were all thinking it, guys.
No, we were not thinking it. We were not thinking that.
I was more hung up on the hair thing. That's very true. That's the one thing missing is good hair.
They got some bad facial hair, but
they'd be too perfect.
They're 15-0.
Yeah.
They're
15-0
awesome.
with bad hair, or
they're very good.
They're a very likable team for the Nebraska basketball fan that wants the bar is kind of low. Hey, just go play hard.
Yeah.
And don't embarrass us.
Yeah.
And they play hard and they play smart basketball, and they have a smart head coach who also Fred. I think Fred has gone through it, but Fred is a very good in-game coach because I think he has a good handle on the game. Like I think his rotations have been on point. He is not like Mac. I thought on Sunday against Seton Hall went back to a little bit of what he did earlier in the year where he was over subbing.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So Fred has a really good feel in game. There are 2 prime examples of this. So I think Fred felt at the end of the first half last night starting to slip a little bit. What did he do? He threw a 1-3-1 zone on Ohio State.
Yeah.
They were not anticipating that. And then look at the end of the game where they had fouls to give. They were up 3 and they started to foul. I mean, just smart in game, but also smart guys on the floor that when you give them that message, they know exactly what to do. So it's just everything has aligned perfectly right now for Nebraska to be 15-0 from who's sitting on the sidelines in polos and slacks, who's on the floor playing. I mean, it's just
his lead assistant's a damn stud.
The connected. Connected is the word that's used, and I think all the way through, top to bottom, everything they want to do and they've been able to do is on point, and they're good. They're good. Yeah. It's not just they're scrappy and all this. They got good basketball players. They don't have great basketball players. They got good basketball players that play together, and when you play together, and it's the first time teams have played against you in that style of defense that you were alluding to, I think they're tough to play. I will be very curious on teams that play Nebraska twice. For example, like Ben McCollum, who might be the Curt Cignetti of college basketball on his path.
Sure.
Like when Iowa plays the second time against Nebraska, like teams that get 2 opportunities.
Oh, interesting.
How do they look? Because I think initially when Nebraska puts so much pressure on the perimeter when you're on offense, you're not used to that because not everybody does it. Yeah. So you can watch it on film, you can rep it in practice in the scout, but when you see it live, it's an adjustment.
Sure.
Like teams that play Nebraska the second time, but right now it doesn't matter. They're 15-0.
And I think it's interesting too, like when the angle that we're watching the game at, right, there are sometimes that you can pick out that Nebraska is late on rotations, right, back to after doubling, but they can't see that on the court because you can't, they don't have that overhead view, right? I think it's an interesting point from you where when teams go ahead and they look at the film, right, and they go and play them the next time, are they going to realize, hey, even though I can't see it, there's an open guy on the other side of the court, and so we're going to swing it out this way, and we'll run an action at different. They'll be tested the first time they play a team for the second time, but I just think, man, it's just they're halfway through the season, they're undefeated, they're smart, they play very solid basketball. They've now played 2 games in a row against high quality opponents where they didn't have their best shooting night. I mean, they made 8 shots, or they didn't make that, or 8. They made 18 shots against Michigan State. Like they've had 2 bad shooting nights, not
Mhm.
great shooting nights, and they've still beaten high quality opponents.
When you're smart and disciplined, that's what some of Fred Hoiberg's best teams.
Yeah.
That's a quality,
Mhm.
and they're
I
smart
think
and
of 14
disciplined.
Iowa State. Yeah.
No, they don't. The roof could have collapsed. I mean, we've seen that before, man. You're up 14, you
Oh,
blow it,
God,
and you're
yeah.
like,
We tried to warn us
We've-
yesterday.
I
Hey,
was-
this could be
on the road.
We see that way more than not.
You saw on Sunday,
Yeah.
teams up 15.
Well, yes. I mean,
Now
it's,
Seton Hall, I think, is more athletic than Ohio State, but
and also too, I mean, I saw when, I mean, you see it all the time in the Big Ten. Like I was watching the Northwestern Minnesota game, like on Saturday, they were up, 12 with a couple minutes to go and they blow it. I mean, we just see it all the time with just not great teams that it just seems like it always comes down to the wire and then they end up choking it. They went 14-17 from the free throw line. Yes, would you like Sam to have made that one when they were up, 4 right away and
No.
make it a 6-point game? Sure, probably would have made things
You
less
need the
stressful.
suspense.
But they got the job done
Boy,
at the very
basketball-
end of it.
I'll tell you what, people say, what is the hardest shot in basketball? The more I watch this year, this isn't just a Nebraska thing, just making a simple layup.
I
They don't
know.
do it anymore.
Ohio State had a hard time making a layup.
That happened a ton with Illinois too, but I'm more predisposed at this point to believe that it's just really tough to make a layup or a close shot against Nebraska because of just how they play defense. But yeah, that's something I noticed as well.
All right, we're off and running on a 15-0 Tuesday morning. They don't get a chance to go 16-0 for a few days. Get Rink off his feet. Let him have a smoke
Get him-
and a cocktail. Let him sit back, relax.
He is old enough. Probably 25
Yeah.
years old. He
I think-
probably does enjoy a
He played
cigar.
36 minutes Friday night. It
Yeah.
started to look that way, especially you could tell in his shot.
He played 35 minminutes.
A little time is a whirlpool.
He's one guy that's going to need some time off. All right, 40 past the hour. We'll talk Husker hoops, and we'll talk Minchie. You're dead to me.
Your memories.
Yeah, or is his agent dead to Nebraska?
That.
We will get into all of that. As couldn't they have waited like an hour for people to enjoy being 15-0?
I didn't know until I saw your tweet. You're the tweet that broke it to me. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Sam McEwen coming up in the next hour. Brian Christopherson and Andy Kent on this first Tuesday of 2026 at 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is your home for the big game. Whether it's the NFL or a rivalry on the hardwood, you will find all the action on Oscar's top-of-the-line audio-video system. With 40 TVs and massive dual projectors, the game has never looked better. Pair that with their award-winning char-buffed wings and $7.99 Monday through Friday lunch specials. Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill has everything you need. 173rd and West Center Road, and for takeout at 162nd and Maple. Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Stop into your nearest Cubbies in Nebraska, Western Iowa, and South Dakota for top quality fuel, hot and fresh food, plus that local spirit that you'll always find at Cubbies. Whether it's a dash in for a drink and a snack, or you're swinging by one of our select locations to grab dinner from Chester's Chicken or Godfather's Pizza Express, Cubbies has you covered. And don't forget your Bear Bucks rewards card for rewards and extra savings. Cubbies, the very best in convenience.
It's a new year, and Aleve is here to help you keep your New Year's resolutions on track. Whether it's a daily walk, hitting the gym, or spending more time with friends and family, Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you moving with long-lasting body pain relief so you can chase those dreams and achieve your goals. Don't let body pain slow you down. Keep going with Aleve, because this year is your year. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Want to make 2026 your year of adventure? Book that trip and learn a new language with Babbel. Go ahead, make a resolution you can stick to. Now is the time. Babbel's New Year sale is here. Unlock all of the languages on Babbel with the lifetime subscription for 65% off. Just go to Babbel.com and start today. Babbel teaches you relevant words and phrases, so you can start speaking with confidence in as little as 3 weeks. And because Babbel's bite-sized lessons fit easily into your daily routine and are easy to remember, you'll be talking like a local in time for takeoff. Dive into the world of language learning content with Babbel's videos, podcasts, and stories from around the world, full of culture bites and language learning tips. Turn your daydream into a destination this year with Babbel. But don't wait. This offer ends January 15th. Get Babbel's lifetime access for less at Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers. So don't wait. If you owe $10, $20, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-649-2626. That's 800-649-2626. Again, 800-649-2626.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part, they accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right. So we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
I'm Omaha Athletic Director Adrian Dow, and I want to introduce you to 3 Omaha schools that are playing a vital role in keeping our community strong. We serve nearly 600 pre-K through 8th grade students, most of whom come from disadvantaged neighborhoods. These students receive a values-based education with the family support they need. I'm a proud member of the CUES Fund Board, which supports the CUES school system. To learn more, go to CUES Schools, that's CUES schools.org.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
Mavericks basketball is back at Baxter Arena. The defending champs return for high-stakes conference play with 2 chances to watch this weekend. Thursday night at 7, Omaha men's basketball hosts North Dakota. Then Saturday afternoon at 1, it's North Dakota State. Summit League rivalries. Conference games that matter. Maverick basketball live at Baxter Arena this weekend. Get your tickets now at omavs.com/tix.
And we're back. Here's Gary, Matt, and Jimmy on 1620 The Zone.
Yeah, before 7 a.m., I've already looked at my first bracket from the Athletic.
Nice.
3 seed.
Oh, we're up to 3.
In Oklahoma City against East Tennessee State. John Rothstein, where are they? What watering hole in Lincoln will be large enough to host
great
John
question,
Rothstein
Gary.
happy hour?
Berries. Get them on the rooftop. Get them on both up and down.
You got to go, Matt.
I think you can do Berries. I don't think you can do really any establishment on O Street. I don't think you can do McKinney's. Maybe you can do you can get them into the rail yard and maybe Tank's
That
Corner.
whole area?
Yeah, Tank's Corner, because they got 2 bars at Tank's Corner. They got the bar inside, they got the bar outside.
Yes, they do.
So why are you saying it like that?
That place may have replaced Gate 25.
Dude, well, you got Tank's Corner and then you got Tank's. And you got a lot of people.
You told me to go there Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, and you're gonna see, you might see some people there. You know, you might see some people
Get a
pulling
scoop.
up.
People like
Get a scoop.
Might see some people pulling up in some nice cars, you know, being dropped off.
All right. So the Athletic this morning has Nebraska as a 3 seed going to Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City and St. Louis are the 2 closest venues for the opening round. Opposite Virginia and McNeese State.
Okay. All right. All right. Ryan Miller versus Nebraska basketball potentially.
No. That's
Murray State.
That's Murray
Damn
State.
it. I'm so bad. Will Wade's former.
Yes.
State.
Also, they have, I was looking for the Summit Leagues, one bid league, St. Thomas. Nick Janowski, who was at Nebraska last year, had a big day the other day. They have them as a 14 seed. All right, before we get to old man Doug here, and Sam McEwen's coming up the next hour. So it's a happy Tuesday. Nebraska basketball is 15-0. It was also going to be a happy Tuesday because Kenny Minchey, with papers in hand, was going to come into Lincoln, Nebraska and say, I'm signing and I'm here to ball, y'all. You know, you can't win a PR battle when you've just come off a 7-6 season and 3 bad losses.
Sure.
And you're 19-19 in 3 years, and the optimism for Nebraska football is about as low as it's been in your tenure as the head coach. But in this case, Nebraska got screwed.
Yeah.
Papers in hand, no contact, no opportunity. Signs with Kentucky, signs the papers, flips. A guy in the portal got flipped when Nebraska was under the understanding that it was all good, that we were coming to Lincoln today to sign papers. And their agent said, did not give Nebraska a chance to counteroffer. And I don't know if Nebraska would have gotten into a bidding war for a guy that hasn't started a quarterback, even though he was their number one target. I like bidding wars for offensive linemen and defensive linemen.
Sure.
Nebraska can't win the optics of this, but if you step back and you give it what it actually is, Nebraska is the one that now they're going to have to scramble. And they're going to, desperate sets the market. And so now Nebraska's a little bit desperate.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're probably going to have to take a flyer, and it's going to be a little bit more money than the $1.5 million that Minchey had agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
You can't win that battle because it looks bad, because it's like, Nebraska is going to Kentucky. The pivot of Matt Rule and Pat Stewart on this, will they say enough is enough and get angry? And you never know who's going to be pursued, because there's a lot of familiar names out there, and Aiden Childs might be back in the mix. But
he's got potential.
It's initially you look at it and you go, ooh. But then you think, wow, if I'm ever going to quit college sports in the new era of college sports and how this works, this is a case where I quit.
Yeah.
And I would say you have every right to do that, because this is the game. And, I'm sure there's more to this story, and neither side will come clean, but we kind of know exactly, also Kentucky said, you're our guy.
Yeah.
You can have a starting quarterback job. Just got to play the game. And I don't know, does Nebraska want to play down in the mud? Who knows? But now the pivot is the most important thing of what they do now, because they need a quarterback.
Yeah.
They need a quarterback, and there's not a ton of guys out there that Nebraska has like, okay, we've kicked the tires, we've vetted, and you're probably going to be a little bit desperate.
It's one of those things where I remember last week on Friday, we had the conversation about, they were a 14-point underdog, and, we should have expected Nebraska football to go ahead and lose, and, why are people still upset about that when we kind of had that expectation? And then, like I said to you, and, you kind of were lockstep, it sucks to get your ass kicked. It just sucks. It doesn't matter of whether or not I see it coming. It just sucks to see your team, get manhandled like that. And I think this is kind of similar in the fact that, it seemed like Kentucky just, was able to give Minchey a blank check and basically say, hey, you're going to be our starting quarterback. And Nebraska fully got screwed over.
Nebraska did,
and blindsided.
This is what I was told last night, is Nebraska did not. So there was a no contact. So it was straight for Nebraska. He was coming today to sign. And Nebraska found out that he was not signing, and he'd already signed with Kentucky, even though there was a no contact. That's how the game is played. There's part of kind of know where you're going here. There's also the reality when it comes to that position in Nebraska compared to Kentucky.
Sure.
Who's the new coach at Kentucky?
Will Stein.
Where did he just come from?
Oregon.
Who did he just coach?
Dante Moore.
There's also Bo Nix in the mix.
Yeah.
So that's the reality, is Nebraska didn't do enough with Dylan when you go into the portal that you can sell that to people that, hey, come here. Our guys have developed quarterbacks. We're going to get them to the NFL.
And so my point kind of, you're kind of spot on here, where my point is, Nebraska got screwed over, and Nebraska, and it's not fair. It's not fair what happened to Nebraska. At the same time, though, this still sucks. It still sucks.
Yeah.
It still sucks to be bullied.
Now it would suck even more if it just became a bidding war.
Yeah.
And because you had a head coach that says we have this amount of resources.
Sure.
But in this case, Nebraska didn't have an opportunity. And the more I think about it, did they want to get into a bidding war? I mean, they didn't. Minchie wasn't like a $2-3 million guy from Nebraska's standpoint. He was $1.5 million. It's the optics are bad and the timing is bad because there's a lot of quarterbacks that maybe you had a connection with have come off the board. So now your options are UNLV, a guy that is really in low confidence coming from Michigan State. You got a Missouri quarterback who got hurt but did get off to a 6-1 start.
Yeah.
Here, DJ Legway all of a sudden might be into the mix.
And then you got the Calandra out of UNLV.
He's the number one guy.
He's pretty good. I think that he'd probably be my top guy too. But I just think, Garrett, it's just one of those things where I kind of had to slap myself a little bit because this all happened. And then I started saying to myself, well, he was a backup at Notre Dame and he didn't have a ton of experience. And we're going off of, and I started putting like Minchie down after I was like really excited to see him play football, and so I kind of had to like adjust course a little bit in a way. I was like, hey, I can't think a certain way just because Nebraska is, he's going to be the Nebraska quarterback or whatever. But I mean,
we're talking agents here.
They got screwed over and it sucks. And it's like, you can't fully blame Nebraska. I mean, they really did everything they could have to bring him in, right? They negotiated a deal. They agreed to the deal. They were going to bring him in. They thought he was going to sign. They had everything figured out. And then they kind of got the rug pulled from under them. It still doesn't take away from the fact that, hey man, all right, great. Like, no, not a whole lot of sympathy for you because you got it. Like we don't have time to sit back and have you cry on my shoulder. You got to go and get a quarterback. You got to go and respond. You got to go and get a guy who's going to be under center for you potentially for next season. So yeah, it sucked that it happened, but that's the reality, and they got to bounce back from it.
Yep. It is the pivot of the head coach and his GM. All right, back to Nebraska basketball, which is 15-0. Good morning, old man Doug.
Good morning. Let's just get this out of the way and make it short. Nebraska is legit.
Thank you.
Legit.
You know ball.
I do.
Thank you.
I wish Creighton could play the same way, teammate and parts fitting together, but it's not going to be Creighton's year. I think we all know that.
Well, I still think they'll find a way into the tournament. You know what is weird this year, Doug? If you want to compare Nebraska and Creighton, is things that Nebraska has, Creighton has always had. Connected, they play well together. They look like they're extremely well coached. They don't have ups and downs. Like they've changed their identity. Like the identity that has been a core of Creighton has driven down I-80 into Lincoln, and what has been Nebraska basketball has come into Omaha.
There you go. So this portal stuff, I was determined not to get upset or pissed or whatever. But
this is in your wheelhouse.
I've been thinking about this now for quite a while, and I think Rule and our coaching staff is recruiting the wrong type of players. And what I mean by that is if you look at Indiana, and I know we're not supposed to, but I am anyway, I'd like to get somewhere close to them, is their type of players just go out and they play. They're not getting in the bidding wars with other teams about some of these players. I mean, the Heisman Trophy winner, I'm assuming if we were in the same boat today, would we be recruiting Mendoza? I don't know if we would be. And so this leads me to my next question. Aren't we all supposed to have the same amount of money? And so how in the world can Kentucky outbid Nebraska that badly and every single player that we really want to get, that we get outbid for? Because Kentucky is going to probably, if we all have the 20.5 million or whatever it went up to, Gary, is we're supposed to all have the same amount of money. And wouldn't it be logical to you that Kentucky will probably spend more than most teams on their basketball team because of their tradition and
Yeah, they
all
have
that
a
kind of
they have a,
thing.
they have a $20 million basketball roster.
And I'm trying to figure out how we're getting punked.
Well, okay, so in this
We got punked.
well, in this case, it sounds like Nebraska got hoodwinked and had Nebraska was set. They thought they had a deal, and there's a no contact, and then the agent signed with Kentucky and Nebraska, and there was no like, hey, this is what Kentucky's offering. Do you guys want to match it? There was none of that. So Nebraska was probably a little bit blindsided by all of this. But we also have to step back, Doug, because we're all in it. We watch it every day. We have the emotional tie. Not everybody wants to come to Nebraska. Okay, just because Nebraska has money, Nebraska doesn't have any momentum. And they have history and tradition and a hell of a fan base, but that can only go so far.
Yeah.
Nebraska has no momentum. Indiana has all kinds of momentum, and their head coach in a short amount of time has become the portal king. He has pushed Lane Kiffin off the edge of the portal king. It's about momentum. Again, not everybody wants to come to Nebraska. And
they don't.
It's not attractive to everyone just because they have money, but you can't this is where Rule's mouth gets him in trouble. Is you can't say we got all these resources and then money becomes conversation. You just can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. It's according to Rule, though, we've got all the money. We got all the money and resources in the world. But again, and yeah, I'm going to call out Minchie and his character because he's still making the decisions, not his agent. And so Rule basically played his cards out too quickly, and I'm losing faith in the guy. I honestly am, because it happened last year with some offensive tackles that we got punked on. And I can see, Gary, us losing players to, let's even say USC or Penn State or Iowa or Indiana, Ohio State, Michigan. Okay. But Kentucky is not, Kentucky's not a garden spot. It's not somewhere where you can say, oh, this coaching, I don't even know who their coaching staff is. Is it a brand new one?
But it's
and Doug, we got it.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like Kentucky was able to give Kenny Minchie what he wanted, which is, hey, an inside track to being the starting quarterback for them in the SEC next year and more money.
And Nebraska didn't guarantee him a quarterback spot.
Exactly.
They said you're going to be involved in a quarterback competition. I mean, I don't know what else Nebraska could have done here, because they kind of the door got shut on when they thought they had their quarterback. I mean, but when you're 19-19 and you've gone 7-6 2 straight years, any of all things, a portal flip, the optics are really bad without the substance to it. But now it's, how does Nebraska pivot? I think that's the story now.
I agree.
Minchie can do whatever Minchie wants to do. And let's also be honest, not everybody wants to come to Nebraska. And also, if I'm looking at the guy that's running Kentucky now, he's got a better history with quarterbacks than the people that are at Nebraska.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. People look at Dylan. They look strictly at Dylan's 2 years if you are a quarterback and you want to get to the show.
Yeah. And we had these conversations about the hypothetical of Dylan leaving, why it wouldn't be great for the optics. And this is kind of that coming to fruition in a way.
Yeah, I mean, you have to pivot quickly.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, what do you do? I mean, there are some quarterbacks that are still out there that I would put above Minchie. You just like to have the first one off your board, but how quickly does Nebraska respond? And does Nebraska overpay? Do they get desperate? Do they get somebody that doesn't fit? Or do they hit a home run? That's now GM, head coach.
Yeah.
That's the next big story of this. All right, Sam McEwen's coming up in the next hour. We're here till 10. 15-0. What's wilder? First place in the Big Ten, or that somebody has a number 2 in a bracket?
Number 2 in a bracket is wild.
We're back after this at 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone. 1620 The Zone. Traffic.
From the Plum Rate Time-Saving Traffic Center. There is a crash that has been reported at 30th and State Street. If you are out and about for an early commute, some pretty heavy moisture on the roads from heavy fog overnight into this morning, and temperatures around freezing.
All right, welcome back in, Gary and Matt with Jimmy on Tuesday morning. We are going to send you, the Omaha men's basketball team is home Thursday and Saturday. 2 huge games, 2-0 North Dakota, 2-0 North Dakota State will be at Baxter. Listen this week to our show, the Connor Happer Show, for your chance to win a 4-pack of tickets into the game. Matter of fact, let's do that today.
Hell yeah.
We'll give away a 4-pack to go see the Fighting Hawks and the Omaha Mavericks, where Dean the Dream Thompson, the all-time leading scorer in the history of Omaha men's basketball, is going to hang with the team on Thursday.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Be a
Dean
good
the
time.
Dream. I thought his record, which is, he had an unbelievable career playing basketball for Omaha. If Frankie Fiddler would have stuck around for another year, he would have been the all-time leading scorer. They would have put Frankie's 23 up in the rafters, but Frankie bailed on Omaha. He went to Michigan State. He has not responded to multiple texts after Friday night.
Really?
Yeah. My last one was, they don't have cell service in Latvia, where he's playing pro ball, and he's playing really, really well, by the way. He's
That's
having a monster year in that professional league. But yeah, we'll give away 4 tickets to go to Baxter Arena. We're also, tomorrow I'll bring in, busy weekend at Baxter Arena because Omaha hockey's home, one of the rare times they've been home for a while. St. Cloud State, Jake Gensel bobblehead night.
I saw that on Instagram. By the way, great bobblehead.
I have one. So
for me?
No.
Oh.
I will bring one in. No, it's in my collection. I will bring it in to show everybody what the first 3,000 fans get on Friday night.
I thought I was gonna. I got really excited there. I thought I was gonna get a gift. Jake Gensel, awesome, by the way. Great pick
Team USA.
I know.
A couple of comments here in the morning of as much as we try and talk basketball.
No, 15-0. We're 15-0. We're talking ball today.
Hey,
I want to apologize for yesterday. You really wanted to talk basketball, and I overforced the football conversation. I made myself a promise today that we would not go down that black hole, that whirlpool, that just the never-ending abyss that ends in me being more pissed off.
Undefeated in basketball. It's
Yeah,
fun.
they are.
You get used to it.
Making winning plays. You know what? You want to judge on coverage of Nebraska basketball if people are all in or not.
Okay.
It used to be. This is when I first moved to Lincoln and started following Nebraska basketball. You had Lee Barfnick from the World Herald, covered Nebraska men's basketball, and then you had Kurt McKeever, and the Journal Star or the Lincoln Star. That's how old I am, and the World Herald, which used to have a morning and afternoon edition.
Yeah.
Lee and Kurt would go on the road every game in the Big 8 and the Big 12 to cover Nebraska basketball. Now, as newsrooms have cut back, you don't get the beat reporter on the road as much.
Yeah.
So if you start to see Big Game Willie, I know Justin, who is really good from the Hastings Tribune, is traveling. Robin,
he was there.
By the way, shout out Robin Washut and my good friend John Baylor are the Nebraska Sports Writer and Sportscaster of the Year, respectively. Well-deserved.
Yes.
Kudos to two people that are outstanding in their field. I'm glad that they were recognized by their peers. I told JB yesterday, I said, you need to go to Winston-Salem. I went there. It's a great event. It is really, really cool. And he goes, I'm there. He goes, Gavster, I'm there. So shout out to both of those guys. Congratulations. In a state that I don't care if you're in Omaha or Lincoln or way out west, we got some extremely talented writers and sportscasters that are in this state. But Robin was in Columbus last night.
He was.
So if media companies like NRG feel that Nebraska basketball can be financially
lucrative,
yes,
yeah, profitable,
then you will start to see more road trips and maybe a trip to the NCAA tournament. Already like the TVs go to the NCAA tournament. I'm talking like in season, making road trips. Like I'm thinking about going to Iowa City.
Yeah.
Iowa City, it's like a midweek game.
Sure.
But going to Iowa City. So if people like, okay, Nebraska basketball could be financially beneficial to our product.
Sure.
I think you'll start to see more traveling for road games.
Well,
NRG Media.
1620, the GBR actually happens.
It's interesting because I remember, being in Lincoln at the time, like Robin, we would have combos and he would be like, he kind of had to pick and choose, like what games that he went to. But this was during the Emmanuel Bandamel, injury year and the Alonzo Verge, season. Now it's funny you mentioned, I thought as soon as I heard Robin's voice at Ohio State, I was like, did he pick this game specifically to go to already? Or is it like, we're going to every single one of them, baby. We're hanging and banging. Like, this is a great team. We got to go ahead. So yeah, I think it's awesome. And then, Justin too, who he went out there and Fred gave him a shout out there. Yeah. Man, they're 15-0. They could be a 2 seed. Of course you should go to every away game. Of course you should cover this team. I haven't seen them in person yet.
You need to see them in person.
They're pretty good in person. They're pretty good on TV, except when you're watching a whitewashed gray floor from Columbus, Ohio.
Almost as bad as a TCU floor.
Can we just bring back?
No, there is a thing. So you've been there.
Yeah.
So just in Oregon, sometimes the floor looks worse on TV than it does in person.
Sure.
Like when you're at the Matthew Knight Arena in Eugene, the floor, and they've scaled back on the floor. It's not as wild as it used to be. When they went into the Big Ten, I think Petiti said, you guys got to cut that out. That's a Pac-12 thing. It doesn't look as bad.
Yeah.
Like distracting as on TV. Like the floor at TCU on TV is distracting. In person, I mean, granted, you're sitting right on the floor doing the game. It doesn't hit you as much.
Sure.
But I think when they whitewashed the floor at the Barn and Williams Arena for the 1 year, like 4 or 5 years ago, that was worse than the all gray floor because part of Ohio State's colors is gray.
They can justify.
And it was a very simple
Sure.
floor. There weren't like all kinds of logos
But
and there wasn't like this is Randy Ayers floor or Thad Matta floor.
Sure.
Like a signature on the baseline.
Yeah. You know what I'm going to say.
You can't see.
No, I can't see. What I'm going to say is that this is old man Matt take, and every basketball court should be some sort of tan or,
Yellow.
some
Ohio
sort of
State had
yellow.
a classic looking court before.
Maybe even,
parquet.
I was about to say this, Jimmy. I just think every floor should be a parquet floor. All right. I'm a sucker for a good parquet floor. Just give me the parquet floor. Even when the Bulls at Chicago Stadium, when they had the parquet, man, oof.
Well, I mean, everybody's trying to get a floor that's unique. I mean, I like Creighton's floor. I like Nebraska's floor. I like Omaha's floor.
I like a state outline.
I like if you saw the checkerboard inside of the arc at MSG when St. John's plays there. By the way, they're only 2-2 at MSG. I like that floor. The other thing, the takeaway from last night is one that Nebraska's 15-0. How did they not acknowledge Cardell Jones sitting courtside?
I even did at home. Like, hey, look.
I recognized him right away, and I'm like,
I saw your
I'm
tweet.
like, man, he's sitting right there. And it's also, we are now, the NBA has infiltrated college basketball where fans have better seats than guys that are actually playing in the game.
Sure.
Like everybody has started
Yeah.
that. Everybody
Yeah.
has started that. You
sitting-
have the bench, and then
Yeah.
you have like 6 really good seats, and then maybe you have the area where the radio is,
Tiny baby scores.
and then you have the scores table, and you have more seats, and then you have the radio, and then you have the play. Like fans have better seats than the players that
Dude.
are actually in the game. But Cardell
Legit.
Jones, that was a good seat last night.
He did. It was funny. Like,
he was into it too.
I was going to ask you when you were like, how did they not acknowledge Cardell?
Because they kept showing him. He was
I
right
know.
there next to Jake Diebler.
I was asking when you did the game where Tracy McGrady was sitting
Right in front of me.
right in front of you.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you go? You made sure that you acknowledged Tracy McGrady was sitting right in front of you. Yeah,
And
like
his son is now at Oral Roberts.
you know a thing or two about that. I mean, I thought it was a great tweet by you. I was like, I hand up, didn't really notice he was there, and then I saw your tweet, and then I was like, oh, Cardell. By the way, shout out another Ohio State quarterback who's helping my football team. JT Barrett is the quarterbacks coach for Chicago Bears. He has been awesome for Chicago.
Quarterback.
I'm going to tell you right now, man. A lot of people like what JT's doing in the Chicago Bears, coaching staff. Don't be surprised if maybe he makes his way to being some sort of OC or head coach in the next decade or something like that. JT Barrett's been killing it for Chicago, so
That's
just
good to
wanna
hear.
Throw that out there.
Well, maybe would he go back to his alma mater? They're
Oh.
looking for
Not a head coach.
No, I mean to be
Not
on the
really.
staff. Wasn't
Oh.
he? Did he used to be on the staff?
I don't know.
Or
if
has he always
was.
been in the NFL?
I have no clue.
All right. Let's start the hour on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. How
morning.
are you, gentlemen?
Good. How are you?
Not bad. What time is our tea time for tomorrow?
Yeah, I saw possibly a record
60
high.
degrees.
Yep. Anyway, going to give you a couple. I had a wish list that I made up last week of portal guys, and of course, Mincy was my number one guy. But now that we know what that's going to happen,
Okay.
I'm going to give you a couple of quarterback names, and I'm looking here at the list of 24/7 Sports, and you tell me what your thoughts are.
Okay.
DJ Langley, for one, is still
Langley.
available.
Okay. Matt?
I'm a fan.
Okay. Aiden Childs from Michigan State, of course.
Not a fan.
I think you got to
now I'm
restore
gonna go
his
down-
confidence first and foremost.
Okay, now I'm going to go down to a couple 3-stars here. Guy by the name of Luke Cromholt from Mississippi State. His profile is pretty good.
Okay.
And the last guy I'm going to let you think about is Anthony Cladera from UNLV.
Okay.
What do you think? Have a great day, and thank you guys. I love your show.
Thank you, Gary.
I thought it was. Am I saying his name wrong?
No.
Okay.
Colendre
There we go.
is so he's in the portal. He started his career at Virginia, went to UNLV. His numbers are pretty impressive.
They are.
Dan Mullen thought he was coming back, and all of a sudden he jumped into the portal. He has visited Georgia Tech and Florida State. He's definitely on Nebraska's radar. The thing about Nebraska's situation is these guys that are at the top of their list have already made a couple of trips So if a school really wants that quarterback, do they go, Nebraska is still searching, and that school, which has already had a visit, they up the offer and they shut the door, and Nebraska gets shut out? Colandrea, I think, will be somebody that will have some movement.
Yeah.
But Georgia Tech and Florida State is looking for quarterback. Florida State's had a plethora of guys that have come through there because
Lagway went there.
Yeah.
So he visited there, and reportedly he was blown away by them.
So Virginia has been active because Childs and I think Legway has been to Virginia. Legway's also been to Clemson. What about this name?
Okay.
And Colandrea has some good numbers. I mean, he's 6 foot, about 205. He can chuck it. He can run. He was actually saw him in person.
Did you?
They played at Colorado State. They were an impressive offense.
Yeah. He had over 3,000 yards passing this year, and if you were,
he ran for what, about 600 yards,
and he had 10 touchdowns. And on top of that, if you were like, you don't like a Charlie check down, this guy averages 8.3 yards per attempt. So he's willing to push the ball downfield. Now, is that more so his trait, or is that, what that UNLV offense was? I think we'd see, in a different offense.
Now,
I'm a fan of his too.
Now, what about this guy? Because I think this will be, there's Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech, and Stanford. He could have been playing in the Big Ten last year. He was the guy on the big board, number 1 for Iowa, coming from Penn State.
Yeah.
Ended up at Mizzou. Mizzou gets off to a 6-1 start. He gets hurt. Could I interest you in Drake Pribula?
Bo Pribula. Yes.
Who is Drake?
Drake Pribula? I don't know.
Right,
it's fine. It's not that big. Yes. Here's why. Because he was a guy that with Penn State the year before he went to Missouri, they were using him as strictly a quarterback run package, right? He would come in for Aller, especially in the red zone, and he would add a layer to him running, right? And so I think that indicated to me, hey, this is a guy that they don't really trust to throw the ball, clearly, right? Well, he went to Missouri and he threw 9 interceptions, which is not great, but his completion percentage was 68%. He threw for 11 touchdowns. He pushed the ball down the field. He had 7.2 yards per attempt. He's tough. He's got that. We talked about it yesterday, right? When we thought that Minchie was coming to Nebraska, that you kind of like the continuity of like you have 2 guys who can run the ball and who can get out of, scramble out of situations, who can add that quarterback run game, in the red zone like they desperately need. So it would interest me. I think, though, Gary, at this point in the portal, any quarterback you get is going to have some sort of flaw. Like any QB that Nebraska acquires, you're going to be like, okay, they have a lot of talent and they could end up being pretty good, but they have to go ahead and they got to develop them. They got to coach some things out of them. And so it's whether or not they're able to do that. But out of what's available, I would say Pribula would probably be in my top 3.
What about Deuce Knight, who was at Auburn?
Yeah. So that's more so on the, hey, the potential, right? Because he was a very highly heralded prospect, going into Auburn. Yeah, that would too. I'd probably be pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Now
I like that Pribula has played in the SEC. I like that he started.
Okay, I'll give you another guy.
Okay.
And everybody is free game right now on this list when you have to pivot like Nebraska has to pivot. Austin Simmons.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin thought highly enough of him at Ole Miss. Got beat out by Trinidad Chambliss, which people thought when they saw the headline that Chambliss had committed to Nebraska, they're like, Nebraska?
Yeah.
Huh? No. By the way, guy's a dog.
Dude, 6'3", 240. Yeah. Yes, please. Yeah, I would probably be more so. I'd be more willing to go with Austin Simmons than I would be for Deuce Knight, because Austin Simmons got beat out by a great quarterback in Trinidad Chambliss, who has his team in the Final Four, and Austin Simmons got beat out by Jackson Arnold. Now granted, they paid Jackson Arnold a lot of money, so he was probably going to be the starter no matter what. Yeah, I'd be cool. I mean, it's the balance of like, what do you want? Do you want a quarterback that has had experience and that has tape and that has gone through the ringer a bit and has some flaws, and you can identify those flaws and fix those flaws? Or do you want a quarterback who's highly talented, who didn't get an opportunity to play? I think that's kind of what you're balancing. The latter would be guys like Knight and Simmons, and the former would be guys like Pribula and Lagway. I think I would probably lean more so toward you got a guy in Latif who's had experiences but hasn't fully been through the grind of a season like that. You already have one of those guys. I wouldn't mind if they went out and got a guy who's played a full season and you know kind of what's wrong and you can pinpoint things and say, hey, this is what we're going to change.
A couple of tweets here. Let's see here. Kyle says Nebraska is a dumpster fire. Kids and parents get on campus and it's an unorganized mess. No one trusts the used car salesman. JD writes in, why is Nebraska desperate? I'm old enough to remember when Backwards Hat Matt said we have all the money we need. Ron, money doesn't buy happiness. It's all talk. It's also the have we not learned we've got to learn the Indiana lesson in today's college football.
Ooh,
money sells, money talks, NFL talks, momentum talks. Is the landscape is shifting where the collection, the very few collection of schools that get the best players, that has now momentum to build off of that and to have momentum in what 27 could look like. Because a lot of this is about momentum. You get hot, you stay hot, people are attracted to you. You know, you buy a billboard in Times Square to tell everybody you have all this money in the world to celebrate that you've overpaid for Sorsby. $5 million for Sorsby. I mean, I know we sat a long way away from the field at Arrowhead.
Yeah.
And he's a good quarterback.
He's a good,
but he's not
really good.
He's not $5 million for one season at Texas Tech, more than what Shadur Sanders' contract pays him in Cleveland.
Sure. I agree.
So
I agree.
It's that momentum. Like Nebraska doesn't have momentum to sell momentum. They're selling playing time, but what else are they selling? Because as nice as Nebraska's facilities are, a lot of schools sell the same thing. So what is the edge? What is the difference that Nebraska can sell that you're going to beat teams out or for players that maybe have a similar offer? That they're like, Nebraska's the place for me because I saw what they just did with blank.
And this is kind of where, maybe they can do it more so for running backs than they can for quarterbacks. And maybe they can do it more so for D linemen because of Ty Robinson, right? But you got to start leaning on like the advantages you might have. But like you bring up two good teams, Gary. You bring up Texas Tech and you bring up Indiana. Well, what is Indiana doing? Indiana's looking at players and saying, hey, look at what we did the last 2 years. Look at all the guys that weren't very highly touted coming out of high school that we developed into potential NFL dudes. Look at Fernando Mendoza. He's going to be the Heisman, right? What can Texas Tech do? Texas Tech can just write you a check for any number seemingly that you want and give it to you. And
they are, by the way, challenging all of the rules.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I thought NIL was supposed to. No. They're like saying, hey, come after us.
Yeah. And nobody's going to do anything about it. Can Nebraska copy any of those two teams? No. They don't have as much money as Texas Tech, and they don't have the pedigree or the pelts on the wall that Indiana has created over the last 2 years. And so you're kind of in this no man's land situation where you don't really have a peg to lean on. You can't pay more for players, and you can't convince anybody to join you over teams that are winning. They're in a tough spot created by themselves.
Ole Miss is more attractive right now than Alabama. Who would have thought that?
Sure.
Even 2 years ago. Now, maybe different with Saban there, but it's changing so quick. You can't get left at the altar, but you can turn it around quickly.
Yeah.
You can turn it around when you get some momentum and all of a sudden you got players and you have substance. Okay.
Yeah.
That you used to be able to sell words. Now you got to sell substance along with words and some cash.
Mm-hmm.
And from Nebraska's perspective, you're missing a couple of those things.
You are.
And this is kind of the portal world is kind of a tell of how people look at your program. Unfortunately, until you have something to sell that is like, hey, did you see what we did last year?
Sure.
Can you feel it?
Yeah.
Can you feel it? That's why this past year, is going to sting, and how long does it sting of the momentum that you weren't able to grasp? Coming off the year before with what was in front of you, schedule, returning quarterback, all of those things that could have said, this is our bump, boom, we got it turned around. We're cooking with peanut oil.
Sure.
Instead,
Yep.
you got no oil. You got no oil to cook with.
I mean, they had opportunities to create that, and they missed out on them.
All right, Sam McEwen will join us here in a little bit. I'm sure he's got a thought or two. Maybe he'll have a favorite. Pick your quarterback. And yet, TJ Lateef is hanging and banging out in California, ready to come back to school.
Yeah.
Remember him?
I was going to say.
TJ's back.
I was going to say a really bad joke. Just move on from that. What if he entered the portal? I'm kidding.
15-0.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
15-0.
You know who's not entering the portal? Sam Hoiberg. On 1620 The Zone. All right, don't let Kenny Minchey distract you from Nebraska basketball being 15-0, or I don't know what Nebraska's doing with the running back room. Sam McEwen's going to join us here in just a bit. Email into the Equitable Bank inbox, Brian. Big fan of Brian's business. Very popular establishment in Blackstone that sells ice cream. He said, any thoughts on Zane Flores? I am a huge Zane fan from Gretna, who is in the portal from Oklahoma State, and it's been very, very quiet. He played on a very bad football team this past year. So bad. And now he's played some football, and this year he started, but they were so bad. I mean, there were times that he was running for his life. I know what I'm going to get with Zane. All right, he's big. Okay, he can throw it. He's thrown that he can throw it in adverse conditions in Memorial Stadium.
Yeah,
he's a hell of a leader. He's a great teammate. He's a guy that has played Power 4 football. This current staff was just getting here when he was at Gretna. He had already committed to Oklahoma State well before the Rule staff showed up. So it's not like they had recruited him in the past, so there's a previous relationship.
Sure.
But he would be one of those guys, because Nebraska needs to add 2 quarterbacks. Zane would be a perfect addition to Nebraska. It has been very quiet around him. He also has, I think, 3 years of eligibility left, because he has a medical and played this year as a redshirt freshman, even though he's been out of high school for a bit. I'm a huge fan. I don't know what's going on there, because I've tried to ask. Dad Mel is a great guy. No one has said anything. But he would be like that solid addition in the quarterback room for quarterback competition.
I agree. And I think that you could probably, I'm not saying from a player perspective, but I'm just saying from an experience perspective, you could probably draw comparisons to where he's at and where TJ's at, right? 2 guys who've played a handful of games, Power 4 football, who weren't put in necessarily the best situations, but have, been through the fire in those regards. So yeah, I would guy like that. Absolutely.
John says, keep it local. Go get Rezak, who, by the way, just is at South Dakota State. Zane or Danny Kalen, who is back into the portal. Now,
yeah, I've thought about this with you, because you are a big proponent of, 3 teams in 3 years doesn't look great, and Danny entering the portal. I was going to ask you about this. What are your thoughts on it?
I think he wants to go somewhere where he can be a starter.
Yeah.
Play instead of being a backup. They liked him in Lincoln, and he took one for the team. He stuck around and got paid to be Dylan's backup when he probably could have gone portaling.
Yeah.
So I think the relationship is good.
Pretty solid, yeah.
But I don't know. I think he wants to play football. Just like Anthony wants to go play football. All right. He's been a backup at Notre Dame. Didn't really have a path to beat CJ Carr, Kenny Minchey out.
Sure.
But wants to play football, and he's found a great home in Brookings.
Look, I can't blame Kenny Minchey. Like, I totally understand why you would want to go, you want to play football at a football school. You don't want to play it at a basketball school. So I totally understand why Kenny Minchey decides, no, I don't want to play at Nebraska at a basketball school. I want to play it at a football school.
I'm with you.
Like
I see
Kentucky,
what you're doing there.
You know? So I don't blame Minchey. You just got to think football school, basketball school, Nebraska, not necessarily the football school that Kentucky is.
Kidding. Mike says maybe Zane to Wyoming, where they just picked up a Nebraska offensive lineman yesterday. Check.
Oh, yeah. Really? Wyoming did. I didn't catch that. Wow.
That maybe Zane would be looking at Wyoming, which would be a good landing spot for him as well. Through all this discussion, all right, Matt Rule, Pat Stewart, Sam McEwen comes up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, the wonderful world of portaling. Matt is absolutely right. You can blame an agent. You can blame Kenny Minchey. You can blame college athletics. Don't forget Nebraska basketball is 15-0. Is all of a sudden Lane Kiffin wanted Sam Levitt, who was set to go to Kentucky. Instead, he's going to go visit LSU midweek.
Yeah.
Kentucky needs a quarterback. Kentucky has the quarterback. He used to be a quarterback that had verbally committed to Nebraska. And now Nebraska is searching. Austin Simmons, who was at Ole Miss, has just signed with Mizzou. All righty. That's kind of fun. Here is Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald. Hello, Sam.
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Fun morning.
Bear down.
Okay, so
bear down.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. For sure.
We just got Sam and I got a playoff game this weekend, and I want to remind him about the fact that the Bears. I'm confident, Sam. Okay. All right, I'm confident that the Bears are going to beat the Packers. I don't know about you, but I want to bring a little bit of positivity in the light before we talk about some non-positive things with Nebraska football. So bear down.
Amen. Yeah, I love their chances too. You know, I been waiting for this for many years. So
you and me both.
Let's get it on. I'm glad that I'm an Amazon Prime subscriber. I don't have to sign up for anything.
I know that the first question in everybody's mouth today is about quarterback. We'll get to quarterback. I'm curious, though, what is Nebraska's plan with running back in 2026?
Possible they stand pat and they do not get anybody out of the transfer portal. Wow. I think they like Mosey and Nelson, Ives. I think they feel like they've got a trio there that can get the job done. It's possible that they go and get a guy, but I don't think they feel like they have to. And, you know, I think it's going to come down to what people are asking for in the market, you know, and to be clear, one thing that I think is important is they've got probably 13, I don't know how many days they have here, but probably 13 days, because I think the last day you can take classes is the 20th. So even when it closes, they got about 13 days to kind of figure that out. And then, you know, like, you don't necessarily have to sign somebody if they enter the portal and they're not necessarily here for the spring. It doesn't mean you can't add them later. It's just that you go into the portal when you go in, and then you might hang out in the portal for 3 months, and then you might come out of the portal in the spring. You know, and so, like, it's more when you go in the portal, when you decide to join a team, in theory is kind of up to you and kind of up to the team. So there might, in theory, be somebody in Nebraska as they add them, but they don't join the team until they graduate from their current college in the summer. So that could happen. And I think that's possible.
And that, you know, and Mekhi Nelson was a midsummer addition. So one follow-up on the running back. So there's 6 scholarship running backs. Nelson looked good in the bowl game, and we've kind of been waiting for him. You mentioned Mosey, and they love Mosey. They must really like the potential of Jamal Rule, who was in this class that signed last month.
Yeah, I think they do like the potential of Jamal Rule as a complete back. I think they like the potential of Connor Booth if he's sticking around, which I think he will. If you have 6 scholarship running backs and you feel like you got a good enough room, and I'm not saying that I necessarily think they do, but they feel like they do. I think they felt that way last summer. As it turns out, they were right. Emmett Johnson took the bulk of the carries, but he had a great season, and running back was not the issue with the team. It was not. It was, of all the positions on the list, you might put running back last in terms of concerns. I think that they have running back very low on the list of concerns right now. I just don't think that that's a primary concern of theirs. I think the primary concern is offensive and defensive line. And then I think, obviously, the quarterback position, which is still in flux.
So, you know, obviously the quarterback position is, you know, that happened with Minchey, but still, you know, they only have 2 commits right now. They got Chambliss from San Diego State, and they got the offensive lineman from Iowa State, and then, you know, I think they'll probably end up getting a commitment from an Oregon State linebacker. But still, even without, you know, with what happened with Minchey, they still only have 3 commits, and you got, you know, it seems like every hour, you know, Power 5 teams or Power 4 teams rather are adding different dudes. And so it's, you know, you're kind of sitting there being like, even though the quarterback situation happened, they still haven't gotten enough guys yet, and they haven't been as active maybe as you would thought they would be in the first 4 days of the portal. My question to you, Sam, is this: is it is Nebraska is the reason why they haven't been as successful getting some of these guys they were targeting. Does it have to do with maybe their lack of leverage, or does it maybe have to do with their lack of aggression when it comes to the dollar amounts?
Yeah, I think I'd push back on the idea that they haven't. Okay, so the quarterback thing, we can talk about specifically. I don't know that I feel the way that you do about whether they're getting enough guys or not. I don't. So, like, I understand what you're saying. As it relates to the defensive line, it's a very competitive market. Some of these guys have decided that they want to stay where they're going. The guy at UCF, I'm not overly concerned about the number of players that they've added to this point. And so, like, I don't know that I agree that something has happened there. It's possible they could get a couple, and I'm not trying to be some sort of homer either. Like,
sure, no, you're fine.
I genuinely don't think that it's as alarming an issue as some people do. So I think they're going to probably end up with 3 or 4 San Diego State guys when it's all said and done. I think they'll probably get that figured out or done or whatever you want to call it. And we'll see about receiver. I think they'll probably end up with the Montana offensive tackle eventually. I think they're going to end up with the defensive line's tricky and that they really need to be good there. So I'm going to withhold my judgment for what they're able to do by the time that kids start going to school, which is next Monday. And we'll just have to see. I think they'll end up adding about 10 to 12 players to the roster, maybe a few more. But I don't know. And as it relates to the quarterback position, this was about money. Kentucky's not going to be a great team next year. They're going to probably be 4-8, and their schedule is a bear too, and they're rebuilding, and they're not going to walk into the SEC next year. And they play Tennessee, Missouri, Alabama, LSU, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M. They're not rolling over that schedule. They're just not. They're probably not going to beat Louisville. So Kenny Minchey's not going there because he thinks he's going to light it up. He might be going there to some degree because it's close to home, and he's going to be playing in his hometown at some point in Nashville, which is close to Hendersonville. But it's about money, And so here's the question at hand that Nebraska fans need to parse through. Do they want Nebraska to pay $3 million for a quarterback when they just did that? And then that money has to go to the quarterback and not to some of the other positions. And so Kentucky's willing to do that. And maybe I don't think Kentucky has more money than Nebraska. I think Kentucky's making a choice on where to deploy its resources because their head coach is the OC of Oregon, and he wants a quarterback. And Sam Leavitt was going to potentially be an option there. Now he's going to probably go to LSU because LSU lost out on Brendan Sorsby. And Kentucky's pivot was to Kenny Minchey, which probably says something good about Minchey's talent. But the reality is Kentucky was willing to, and the wrong word is to say offer more money. They were willing to use more of their money, its money, to that position. And I think if Nebraska is doing it the way that Nebraska wants to do it, they're not gonna spend Dylan Raiola money on a guy that's not played a down, or he's played a down, a guy that hasn't started a game.
Yep. Yeah.
So like some of this is that, some of this is, they're still in the process. They've lost a guy to Texas Tech, a defensive lineman. Texas Tech obviously has money. Again, I don't know how Texas Tech has like a lot more money than Nebraska because the oil money thing doesn't like work anymore. So like we're just going to have to see how it all sets out. I don't know how many players Texas Tech is adding. Now, they've added some. If they're able to add 20 players and they're all Highline players, I'd be really curious to see how they're able to pull that off.
Yeah.
Are these guys all working for the oil company? Because otherwise you can't.
They're challenging.
Clearinghouses.
Yeah, they're challenging and saying, "Hey, come after us."
Yeah, that may be exactly what's happening. But the point of the matter is that, like, I know enough about how revenue sharing is supposed to work that, like, the best way to leverage getting over the top or over the cap revenue sharing money is to leverage your media deal. Texas Tech doesn't have a better media deal than Nebraska. At least I don't believe they do. And so, like, the idea that, like, well, Cody Campbell's going on and buying this, guess, well, okay, but the clearinghouse is eventually going to have to address that. And it isn't so again, I don't know what magic everybody thinks that Texas Tech has.
Yeah.
But if they want to deploy it and then they want to take it to court and they want to win in court and all that, maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. We'll have to see where it all shakes out. But there are teams that have more money than Nebraska. I think Oregon probably does, for example, because they're able to leverage their apparel deal in a way that virtually nobody else is able to do. The apparel deals are not where it's at. It's mostly the media deals that you have. Texas A&M has a better media deal than Nebraska. Trev Alberts, I think, made a better media deal at Texas A&M. So, there's some schools that are able to leverage more money. I don't know that Texas Tech's able to do that. And I know what people hear because they listen, they read message boards and all those things. We'll just have to see where it shakes out. And again, I'm not trying to knock Texas Tech for doing anything. I'll be curious to see how they're able to leverage that much money outside of their media deal for players. Now, what they did up till now is a whole different thing. But what they're able to do going forward will be a question mark, and we'll just have to see. Now, has Nebraska missed out on a couple guys that it would like? Yes, it has.
Oh, yeah.
And along the defensive line and maybe a few other spots. But again, I don't know where it's going to end up until it ends up there maybe next Monday or even all the way through the following Monday.
All right, let's talk about somebody who's signed, sealed, and delivered because he's coming to play in a defense for his former defensive coordinator, and he's playing the same exact position.
Right.
We always wonder about San Diego State guys or guys that are coming from Group of Five and they take a step up. They can play football. Are they ready for the big stage? There's a lot of tape on Owen Chambliss, Sam. There's a lot to like here. What do you like about that addition at that particular position that was not good last year?
Well, he can run. He can catch up to guys. He's got blitz speed. He's rangy. So if Rob Orch's defense stays the way it was at San Diego State, which is you're trying to compress the interior gaps and you're trying to bounce plays to the outside, I think that's going to be something that Chambliss is good at. Now, the Big Ten is a little bit different run league than the Mountain West. Mountain West is almost entirely spread. Not entirely. Wyoming does some under the center stuff. So do the other teams. Boise. But it's a little bit more spread and a little bit more shotgun. So he'll be asked to do some things in the Big Ten that he probably wasn't doing out there. When they play, when they play Iowa or, when they play Illinois, because Illinois likes to do that jumbo stuff. So that'll be a challenge, but no, he can run, he can drop in coverage. I think his ranginess is similar to Javen Wright, but I think his suddenness is a little bit better, which you would kind of expect given Javen Wright's many surgeries. So I think he's a really good addition to the team.
Maybe this is a bad question here, but I want to get your thoughts on it because maybe we're on the same wavelength and it could turn into an interesting conversation. But this isn't the first time that Kentucky has just kind of come through, dropped the bag on somebody Nebraska wanted, and then they ended up leaving because it happened last year with Dante Dowdell, where seemingly it just Kentucky just swooped in, gave him a big old pile of cash, and Dowdell was all of a sudden in Lexington. And then it happened, again yesterday, where Minchie seemingly was on his way to Nebraska, and Kentucky kind of swoops in and drops a big bag and gets him. Do you think that, those are more novelty situations, or unfortunately, maybe Nebraska now, schools are looking around and being like, hey, this has now happened twice to Nebraska. They might be a team where even if a guy says that they're going there, we could come in and we could swoop in and drop a big bag on them. Do you think that there might be a connection there, or is that these are just kind of, hey, these are one-off events that maybe happen more so often to other teams too?
Yeah. No, I think you can certainly look at it. It's two different coaching regimes, obviously, but in the first case, I think Nebraska chose Emmett Johnson over Dante Dowdell.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. I think Dana Holgorsen probably made the step in there and said, no, I like this guy. This is who I want. And I think Dowdell was then presented with a counteroffer that Nebraska may not have had the money to answer. Now that last year, I think was a little bit different situation. And Nebraska may have said, look, we are deciding that we are going to go in on Dillon, and we're going to get this receiver and this receiver and this lineman and this lineman. And we don't have the money to match your offer, because remember, if they match the offer on Dowdell, then they got to up the money for Johnson.
Yeah.
Right. So that was, and they would have had to, if Marty Brown last summer, it probably would have been the same thing. They would have had to up the ante on the guy they already had. So it wasn't just paying Dowdell; it was paying the other guy. This year, I think Nebraska has the same amount of money as Kentucky on this situation. I think that they're making, Kentucky is basically offering Minchie a blank check, and that's a lot of money to apportion to a quarterback that Nebraska's not even sure is going to start. So I don't think, obviously at Kentucky, he's going to be the starter because you don't pay that guy that kind of money unless you're like, hey, you're going to be the starter. And Nebraska was not. Nebraska was going to have him go through a competition with TJ Lateef, and so I think there was going to be it would have gone against, I think, the philosophy that they had established, that they want to have a quarterback competition. They wanted to have a quarterback competition with Kenny Minchie and TJ Lateef, and they wanted to surround those two guys with the best team possible. Now that Minchie is off the board and he's at Kentucky, you're looking at Aiden Childs, apparently DJ Lagway. I guess we'll see about that.
That'd be wild.
Yeah, it would. Anthony Calandria, and then I think Bo Perbula.
Yeah,
I think those three, and then apparently Lagway. Which if you're going to go to DJ Lagway, I think you're probably saying, you're going to be the starter, and you're kind of going into the Dylan Raiola plan again, because he's pretty similar to Dylan. Honestly, he's a little bit better passer than Dylan, but he makes a lot of mistakes. We don't need to get into DJ Lagway. If he comes here, we can talk more about it.
Sure.
The other three guys I think are more mobile, and Calandria would be a starter type. Perbula would be a competition, so I don't think he could guarantee that he's coming here. He's not going to go to Virginia Tech. They got their quarterback in Grunkemeyer, and so I think you're looking at, okay, if it's this Perbula who was at Penn State and then Missouri and then he got hurt, and now he's out in the market again. That's probably a competition between he and Lateef. The other two guys, maybe Childs is a competition with Lateef, but Childs could probably go to Clemson, and he wouldn't be going to Clemson to sit on the bench. And then Calandria, I think, would be a similar situation where you'd be like, listen, we want you to come here. We want you to be our guy. And then you're dealing with whatever Lateef's doing. So there's no easy choices. Their perfect vision was to bring in a guy who could not demand that he start, have a competition, pay both of those guys pretty well, and the best man win. And they kind of had that for a day. And then Kentucky came in and said, we will pay you a crap load of money to come here and know that you're going to be the starter. And I don't know that that's something Nebraska could have done with Minchie. Now, maybe they could do that with somebody else.
Sure.
So that's probably part of the challenge here is I think most people will say Nebraska doesn't have the money. That's what I think. And I think that's an understandable approach. And Nebraska has egg on its face because the guy they wanted was bought out from under their feet. That's fair. But I also think that what Nebraska was planning there was their perfect scenario, and now that's been undercut, and they've got to decide what they want to do. Do they want to go after a Calandria type, who's probably got to be the starter, or do they want to go after a Perbula type or a guy that would compete with Lateef and carry this thing out through the spring? I think that's probably where the dynamic is as of 8 a.m. this morning.
All right. That's great. We got about 10 more days of the portal. This will be fun. Sam, we appreciate it as always. Thank you.
Take care.
That's Sam McEwen. Quarterback has just committed. Actually, really liked him. Never on the board for Nebraska, but Byron Brown, who was at USF.
Yeah.
Going to Auburn.
Okay. Whoa.
One other thing that Sam mentioned, it happened late last night. He was talking about the Montana offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
Colin Amick, 6'2", 292. He is committed to Iowa State. So will not be making a visit to Nebraska. He was supposed to visit later this week.
I feel like if we've learned any lessons from the portal window, it's that you want to get the first visit. It's probably
let him leave. You said kidnap him yesterday, right?
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, that's what Connor Happer said. I just said, don't let them go. Have them come to the facility, and if you really like them, don't allow them to visit somewhere else again. Just close the deal there.
Or sometimes you think somebody's coming to visit to sign, and they don't come to visit, and they don't sign. By the way, people are asking, Vince Morrow is no longer at Kentucky. He's actually at Louisville.
Yeah, he switched about this time last year. Remember that?
Yeah, so he's not the problem this time. It's the agent.
Well, it's also the Oregon quarterbacks who've been drafted were the problem.
All right.
And Lane Kiffin.
All right, time for a pivot. Nebraska basketball is 15-0. Big game, 11 a.m. Saturday at Assembly Hall against Indiana.
Time for a pivot, not a travel, though. He gathered and then he stepped, not a travel. Shout out Ant on Twitter.
We're back with more after this. All right, everybody on the East Coast is very suspect of the officiating. I'm going back to Sunday in New Jersey. Did you guys see the offensive foul that was called in the Rutgers-Oregon game last night?
No.
Rutgers, by the way, won in overtime against Oregon. week from today, Dana Altman will be back in Nebraska, Oregon at Nebraska. You've got to watch it. It's on a missed free throw. It's going to be up there as one of the worst foul calls in college basketball this year.
I'm looking at it right now. Oh, let's see. Own rebound, then. Oh, they called a foul on him?
Yeah, they call a foul on Rutgers. Missed free throw by the Scarlet Knights. Yes,
he rebounded the ball.
Yeah, and they call a foul on him. Ball tonight. Interesting game in the Big East. St. John's, who will be in Omaha for the Stripe Out game. They are at Butler tonight. Texas Tech at Houston. Iowa and Minnesota. That's a very interesting game.
Minnesota is an interesting game. I feel like I was just going to beat Minnesota.
Minnesota has beaten Indiana at the Barn.
Okay.
And they just won at Northwestern rallying.
Yeah, that was not an impressive win. I watched that game. I was not blown away by Minnesota Golden Gopher basketball.
Hey, would you like to rank the Franfers that came to Nebraska?
The Franfers? You mean the former Iowa basketball players?
They're the Franfers. Okay.
I don't get that. Well, Fran McCaffrey.
They're transfers.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Come on. How do you not get that?
No.
You've been on today.
Whoa.
So
how do you mean?
Sanford,
How do I not
Dix,
get that?
Yeah.
Way down there, Freeman. The Franfers.
Are there more Franfers that entered the portal that are across the country?
There have been.
Okay.
And there just happen to be 3 that crossed the river.
Yeah, I would say that you got it pretty spot on. Sanford, Dix, a pretty large gap. There's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us.
That St. John's Creighton game on Saturday seems pretty damn important.
This
is a huge week for St. John's.
Big week for St. John's. Because you mentioned it to me yesterday that they may not make the portal or not make the portal. Jeez,
Everything's about the portal.
I'm so sorry.
Nebraska's quarterback's not coming here.
They may not make the tournament. And then I went back and I was like, what is Gary talking about? Like, I thought they're playing pretty decent basketball. And then I go ahead and I look and I go, oh no. And then Rothstein did a whole 5-minute soliloquy on how just everything is falling apart. So you're right. Saying, talk about a team that
Ejiofor was
a
a man among boys against Providence, but then he had 4 little newspaper kids that were playing with him. They can't shoot the basketball and they don't have a guard.
Yeah.
They're very poorly constructed. They spent a lot of money. They didn't spend the right money. Hello, Kentucky.
Yeah.
Hello, St. John's.
Seriously. And I think that that is what the portal era will really just be boiled down to how good was everybody at evaluating, right? Because I think there are some times where I question whether or not did the coaches or the people in charge, could they actually look at, hey, how is this guy going to fit our team? How does this style of play fit our coaching style? How does his personality fit our culture? Do they look at that, or do they look at, oh, he's highly touted, he's a 4-star, these other schools are after him, we're going to go out and get him because we have to go and get good players?
Yeah.
Like it's always this era will come down to how good were you at evaluating fits.
Well, and then sometimes I think this is one of Creighton's issues is they have the perfect storm of underperformance.
Sure.
Owen Freeman has been AWOL. I mean, you go to any Hy-Vee in town and he's on the milk carton. They've had 2 guys that've had to adjust to playing Power 5 basketball that haven't adjusted, that you thought that Graves and Harper would be much further along.
Yeah.
Dix has been good, but Dix's shooting has gone down a little bit.
And he's been the alpha, but he's not been the alpha that you needed him to be. And then he's not worth what he's getting paid.
Then you had a season-changing injury in Jackson McCandry. So Creighton is the perfect storm of underperformance. Still early. The one that is not, because I was watching clips. Okay, ready for my clips?
Yeah.
Here's another part of Nebraska basketball who 15-0. All the wins, 15-0, just rack them up, baby. January 6th, you have 15 wins. 4 of them have come in your conference. 2 of them have come in conference road games. Is the subtle winning plays that Nebraska basketball is able to pull off during the course of 40 minutes, don't show up on the stat sheet. And Hoiberg, so you know who the leading rebounder was last night for Nebraska?
It was Sam Hoiberg. He had 9.
He had 4 assists, 3 steals. I think he would have scored just 4 points.
Yeah.
But just subtle winning plays to keep a possession alive with an offensive rebound where you get into the fray and you poke it out to the arc where, Sanford can pick it up or Lawrence, whoever. Just all of those things. It's just a team. Again, I know I want to go back. I know I gave my TED talk about quit asking the question, are they legit? Maybe I should say, you know what? if I'm looking at the outside of Nebraska, I go, they don't have any knockdown, drag out first round NBA guys. They don't have a candidate to be all Big Ten Player of the Year. They don't have a National Player of the Year. They have they have all these guys that when they're walking through the airport, I go, well,
that's Jawan Gary.
Track and field. What do we got there? Okay, so you may look at that, but you got to watch basketball. It's just the beauty of this basketball team is they make winning plays that might be subtle, but they now know how to win.
Yeah.
And they like winning. Okay? They like winning.
That's important. That's important. No, and also too, I like that you bring up like the Sam makes the plays that we forget about, because one of the biggest plays in the game, in my opinion, was that he had that pick. He had that pick six. He had that interception coming across.
The first time he had one of those this year?
This year, yeah. I mean, you feel like he went on that stretch last year where it was like 5 games in a row.
You go back a couple years ago. Remember the Maryland game?
The Maryland
where
game.
He kind of arrived on the scene.
He had like 2 of those that game. But he actually, funny enough, when he had that pick six, he almost had it earlier in that possession, and I think he was reading the pass as well. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. They enjoy winning. Is a very curious sentence.
I like winning.
Well, it's a very curious sentence because you would think that would be a prerequisite for like being paid to play college basketball. That like you enjoy to win, that you actually want to win these games. But I think that we're finding out, and you read these stories on Twitter of just more and more coaches getting frustrated about how, college sports has become a transactional business, that it's more so about, hey, did I get my numbers and am I getting my tape so I can enter the transfer portal next season and get a boatload of cash, whether that be in football or basketball. It's just some of the baseline things that used to exist in college sports, right? Tradition, pride, loyalty, and then also just sacrificing things in order to win. Mm-hmm. Those have fled some college basketball and football programs. I don't think it's fled Nebraska basketball at all. Like you talk to Sam, like Sam was there when they were in the Alonzo Verge years where, they weren't winning a lot of basketball games, where he wasn't even on the travel roster, I mean, Sam Hoiberg was a guy 4 years ago. He literally, he was not good enough to travel to road games, right? And he has stuck with this program to the point where it's like, he knows the BS that happened before and the losing and how much that sucked. And I think it's impressive that through years of players now, they've been able to kind of pass that culture from player to player. Even if you weren't here when Nebraska basketball was losing, it was not fun. It was not enjoyable. This is fun. This is enjoyable. Let's keep that up. And so it started with Griesel, and it started with Walker, and it started with Bandamel and Gary, and now it's and Sam was there too, and it's carried over. It's carried over to these guys who weren't here a couple of years ago, and that's part of the reason why they're champions in their roles and they're winning basketball.
And it's a different guy almost every single night that leads them in scoring. All right, speaking of basketball, Omaha men's basketball, second game of a 3-game homestand. If you haven't been out to Baxter Arena to see the Mavs, we were talking Dean the Dream Thompson, the all-time leading scorer in the history of Omaha men's basketball. He's been around Baxter Arena a little bit more, going to be with the team on Thursday night. If you want to go to the game and see Omaha take on North Dakota, where former Westside Warrior Reggie Thomas is a member of that team. And North Dakota, by the way, will join the list of schools that have played all 3 Division I Nebraska teams in the same year.
Yeah.
They played Creighton. They played
Awesome.
Nebraska. Now, because of them being in the Summit League, they'll play Omaha. We've got 4 tickets for you. What is the alma mater of Dean the Dream Thompson, the all-time leading scorer at Omaha? First caller at 402-951-1620. Going to win 4 tickets to go see Omaha and North Dakota on Thursday night at Baxter Arena. 402-951-1620. The alma mater, the all-time leading scorer for Omaha men's basketball, Dean Thompson. Where did he go to school? I kind of gave it away if you need a little bit of a hint. Thursday in studio, we will have John Cook. You may have heard of him, former Nebraska volleyball coach. So good, they built a statue for him out in front of his arena. He'll be in studio. Yesterday was the Supernovas Media Day, and they have their opener on Thursday. That's why John's going to be in studio. Such a brilliant move to bring him into the ownership group and to have him involved, because anything that John Cook's name is attached to is going to be successful.
Yeah.
And it brings attention. So people are like, oh, okay, I'm familiar with the Supernovas. They've had a good couple of years here.
Sure.
All right. John Cook's involved. I'm involved. So it was a brilliant move to get him involved because he doesn't have to do everything.
Yeah.
He kind of have one toe in. He's got you'll find this out when we talk to John on Thursday. He's doing a little bit of everything. But it was such a brilliant move to attach John Cook's name to the Supernovas. So we're looking forward to having him in studio on Thursday. We'll do that in the 8:00 hour.
Should I have him sign my book or his book that I own?
Sure, why not?
Well, how embarrassed would you be?
I'm not embarrassed. Why? I mean,
if I go, hey, Mr. Cook, I have your book here. I really enjoyed reading the first 20 pages of it to make conversation. Here, can you sign the inside? Can I get your John Hancock? Don't tell me you wouldn't be embarrassed. You'd be like, geez, come on, kid. What are we doing?
Gary, Caleb's our winner. He said you would be happy for him because he's a fellow Chiefs fan. So
okay. All right. Thank you. Good. Congratulations to Caleb. We'll have Creighton basketball tickets to give away. They got a big stretch of home games coming up, including that monster game on Saturday against St. John's. Jimmy, good news for you.
Oh, I like good news.
Oh, yeah.
Matt Eberflus has just been fired
All
as the
right.
defensive coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys.
Shocker.
Yeah. So next year they can go 8-9 instead of 7-9.
Yeah. Next year you can hire Jonathan.
What if they
Gannon.
only played 13 games and they were a game below 500? What would they be?
Ooh, they would be 7-6.
6-7.
I wasn't going to get, no, I wasn't.
Oh,
They would-
geez. What are we doing? Why did you force that? That is so over. We're
No,
done.
it's not. No, it's not.
No,
It's-
we're done.
Have you not been to a game?
6-7 was so overrated.
Dude, when
That was such an overrated
when
trend.
somebody is on the verge of scoring 67 points in a basketball game, you can feel it in the gym.
Yeah.
Okay.
These kids, they go
Did
nuts.
silly bands lasted longer and had more of a cultural impact than 6-7 did?
I don't know. I think it was the word of the year.
It was not the word of the year.
I'm pretty sure it
Checks
was the
out.
word of the year.
What was the word of the year?
Rage and 6-7.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Word of the year.
Yep.
Portal. Word of the
I
year.
know what mine was. Same as every year.
Rage bait. Wow, you weren't kidding.
Better than jailbait.
Why is that? Why is rage bait the word? First off, that's two words. Rage and bait. That's not one word. There's a space in between the two. That's stupid.
I don't make the rules.
Word of the year. Merriam-Webster's word of the year was slop.
I think it was 6-7.
It was not 6-7.
Yeah.
First off, two words. Those are two words. 6 and 7.
Yeah. The answer, by the way, Dean the Dream went to West Side.
Yeah, you said. I think you dropped
So-
it earlier in the
Yes.
show.
Well, no, because Reggie Thomas plays for North Dakota, and Reg was at West Side recently.
Okay.
Yeah. West Side's got a big weekend. So they got prep again. That's the Metro final. So that's Friday night over at 87th and Pacific. And then I think West Side is at number 1 Lincoln Southwest on Saturday night.
If you watch The Accountant, I'll go to a high school basketball game.
That's the
Why won't you just embrace high school basketball? Last night we had on the floor, and they were guarding each other. We had a guy from Lincoln Southwest being guarded by a guy from Omaha Bryan. Now Amari, and his dad played at Iowa State. I missed Amari's senior year at Bryan because Omar, man, would be right there on the floor. He'd be coaching his son. Amari did not finish his.
Sure.
He went to a prep school his senior year, but we had, and look at what we're going to have on Saturday. We're going to have a Lincoln Southwest kid, and by the way, an Ashland Greenwood kid.
Yeah. Good
Okay,
point.
and a Lincoln Pius X kid.
There you go. Well, and a Hinsdale Central kid, technically.
They're not from Nebraska. And you'll have a kid that began his high school career at Elkhorn South and Tucker DeVries.
Yeah.
Why don't you embrace high school basketball?
What do you mean? I'm not saying I'm not embracing it. Why don't you embrace the incredible Ben Affleck film about having the difficulties of autism coupled into the fact that he's a hitman assassin? Why don't you embrace that?
That is a winning plot.
Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
Wow.
Ben Affleck is an is an
The Duck, his
is an
friends call him.
autistic assassin, and it is one of the best movies I have
This
ever
summer,
seen. And
murder is on the spectrum.
I've implored you for 6 months to watch it, and it's an easy watch. It's a great movie. I want to have a combo about it, and you refuse. So
You need to watch it and then
I
call
don't
him at
think
2:30 in the morning.
I don't think refuse is the word. I just have to find some time.
What you watch Landman in the span of it's so quickly. You finished Tulsa King.
No, because
you probably
then
binge watched Stranger
they
Things and
move
caught
along
up in a
quickly.
month.
Like Accountant is a movie, so it's got I got to pay attention.
Yeah.
more.
What is the difference between 3 episodes of a 45-minute TV show and 1 2-hour movie? There is no difference. It's the same amount of time.
They move quick.
No, they don't.
My attention span isn't great.
I don't believe that. You got a pretty good attention span.
No, man, I can't be like I don't like to be sitting. Like it has to be quick.
This is why you pace during your game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That and get your steps in. It's really great idea.
By the way, today's a good day to get your steps in. Gonna be mid-50s. Yeah, tomorrow.
You got to give
Tomorrow
me
gonna be a golfing day.
You got to give me your trails. What trails you walk? I mean,
It's in my neighborhood, like the Rover.
no, I know. I want to Gary.
You want to
Gary
run
Sharp-
into him?
Well, no, I mean just best trails.
I do. I've been walking that trail for long enough now, and on a regular, like the time of the day, they're like our regulars there.
Do you like say hi to them and you acknowledge them?
It depends. Like some people are courteous when they're on bikes and they'll pass you and they'll say on the left. Some people, yeah, they don't. I'm finding more and more people when you say hello to them, like as a stranger, they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I talk to everybody.
What you selling?
Like even the guy that walks with his old school Walkman headphones.
Yeah.
Because I think he's listening to the Zone.
Nice.
Because he like I think
got
he,
a walk-
I think
he's
he
got a-
recognizes me.
He's got a Walkman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah. And
You-
so he's
he
always
should
out there
sell
walking.
that.
I always say hi to him and he doesn't respond. I don't think people know how to respond to people saying good morning, hello.
I had a great.
They just like,
What do you want? What do you want? What do
okay.
you want from me?
Hey. I
had a great
even
conversation.
here in this building.
I had a great conversation in an elevator yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
With
About that.
A mother and her daughter.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Her 6-year-old daughter like had knee
No.
surgery.
Okay.
Knee surgery?
Yeah,
She's
six, and I go, "What's your hurt there?" And she goes, "I got surgery on my knee." I go,
That
"Doing
damn
what?"
turf is
And she's
just-
like,
she out for the year?
I didn't ask her. She's a wrestler, and she's like,
Oh.
she was a wrestler, and I go, "You want to go to Iowa?" And her mom goes, "Yeah, she wants to go to Iowa." So it was, it was
She
fun.
meant
So
the
look, there are
casino.
more people who are willing to have combos. I've become more of a social butterfly being around you during the College World Series because there was about 10 people we would talk to on any given walk.
Yeah.
It was fun. We need more people who are willing to have random conversations on the outside, and we need more men my age who are willing to talk to women at bars. But that
that's
should
deep.
be the 23-year-old resolution. Gonna talk to more women at bars.
Jerry writes into the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi,
No,
Jerry.
I'm all for it. I'm all for whatever you want to do.
Thank
Okay?
you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
I support you,
That is
Matt.
probably- that is the most supportive
We all support
thing
you.
you've ever said to me.
Talk to those
Thank you.
girls.
I know.
Before I read Jerry's email, Jake says, ask John Cook about the aliens he saw last night. Did you guys see this? So
Wemby on
Coach
TV?
Cook posted, it's in Arizona. There was something in the sky.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we'll ask him about that, but he'll be in studio on Thursday. at
Hey,
8.
Coach, congratulations on your new position. You believe in aliens, man? That'd be a funny first question. Be an icebreaker.
Jerry says, I don't blame Minchie or his agent at all. You guys have talked frequently this morning about the fact that people should not need to see any more to believe that Nebraska basketball is legit. Why does anyone need to see any more belief that Rule is a clown who is a master talker and nothing more?
I don't know. I think they just got screwed over, and I think Minchie got paid more money to go into a
Yeah.
better situation. Let's just be real.
Yeah, this was-
Kentucky is a better situation than Nebraska from a quarterback perspective.
Well, okay. So the optics, you can't win this PR battle
No.
because you're 19-19.
Yep.
Okay. And you've said more than you have more hot air than substance, which got to change quickly. So you're not going to win this, even though the facts come out of there's really nothing Nebraska could have done. And hey, and I don't even if Nebraska would have been able to counteroffer, I'm okay. I don't getting into a bidding war with somebody that has not started. I want to get into a bidding war with guys that play in the trenches and are proven talent. Like Chambliss will fly under the radar a bit because he's from San Diego State, and he should not at all. And maybe I'm saying fly under the radar, and you're like, no, he's not. He's a good player. He's proven talent.
Yeah,
It's just
109 tackles.
how does he play at the big stage of moving from a San Diego State, the Mountain West Conference, to the Big Ten? I asked this to Sam. I think this is a subtle thing about him joining Nebraska, a position of need.
Mhm.
Maybe he kickstarts a guy like Vincent Shavers, who did not have the sophomore year that we all anticipated. Don't overlook the fact that he is making the move to a defense that he's playing the same exact position in the same exact defense with
No.
the same exact guy that he has listened to coordinate the defense. I think that is a huge bonus that Nebraska just has not had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can
Sure.
bring guys, you could bring guys from places where you just coached, but are they playing the same exact position
Sure.
in the same exact defense
And-
or offense? And that has been no until you get Arich and he brings a guy like Chambliss, and he's going to get Nebraska will probably get 2 defensive backs that come from San Diego State. It may take a little bit longer, but they're going to play the same exact position in the same exact defense.
And I think another like underrated thing too is that it's not as if Nebraska has had a ton of success of bringing guys from other schools when they hire their coaches, right? The only other guys done it was Da'Keel Shorts, right? Who brought in Dane Key and then the other guy who
Dane Key played basically the same wide receiver role, not the same offense.
Yes, but essentially though, like you haven't had a whole lot of that. Like Stephon Thompson was the only guy who came with Tony White, and he was didn't really play and he wasn't very effective. And so I think you're totally right in that regard. But another thing too with Chambliss, Gary, is that Nebraska did get the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year last season in Marquise Watson-Trent, to be on their team. And no, you're right. You're right for saying but here's the difference. Well, wait. No.
Okay, I'll listen. I'll listen. I hate this comparison, but I'll listen.
The reason why it's different.
Oh my God, it's so much different.
The reason why it's different is because Marquise Watson-Trent walked by me at the Husker games, and I go,
thank you.
I go, that's
okay.
That's that guy. Like I'm like as tall as this guy. I'm kind of as wide as this guy. Owen Chambliss is 6'3", 240 pounds.
Yeah. He's not 5'10".
No, he's not 5'10". Guy's a dude. All right, guys built to play
similar
in the Big
numbers,
Ten.
but not 5'10". Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
That's so. If people are a little hesitant and have some trepidation of like, well, they got a really good non-power 5 linebacker. No. Like Chambliss is the measurables that you look for a high quality athletes playing the position in the Big Ten, and so that's another underrated piece too, where it's like I think his statistical. What percentage of his stats from San Diego State would transfer over to Nebraska? I think a high percentage of that.
Yeah. Linebacker room is kind of interesting.
It's been a very under the radar, not great room for Nebraska over the last couple of years. Not great.
But there's not a lot of proven talent that is in that linebacker room for 2026. So 2 more, please. All right, we'll take a break. Come back. Top of the hour, Brian Christopherson stops by with a thought or two on, as we all are portaling here today. It's been a busy day of quarterbacks saying yes. Austin Simmons to Mizzou.
I feel like every time
Brown to Auburn.
Yeah.
Levitt's going to go visit to LSU. Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza are going to battle out to see who gets to be the 1 or the 2 or the 3 pick in the NFL draft. All right, I think we're caught up.
My article from the Field of 68, the Daily, the topic, Big Red Machine. Nebraska extends win streak to 19 games with win at Ohio State.
People should not forget.
Oh, about the win streak? Yeah, sure. I don't think they will. Not if they're listening to this show.
Gary and Matt with Jimmy at 1620 The Zone. Hey, if you got a thought or two or three, you can call us on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. And we're going to be giving away a $100 gift card to Sky Bar and Grill.
Nice.
When you walk right in Prairie Flower Casino, you see it, you're drawn to it, and you'll have a $100 gift card if you go to 1620thezone.com right now. Enter the contest for more information as Nebraska enters the contest for, could I interest you in a inside linebacker from Oregon State by the name of Dexter Foster, 6'3".
Yes.
Past year, started 7 games, 52 tackles.
Beautiful. 14 of them were not 4. 8 of them were for loss or something like that. I
Had
was looking yesterday.
11 in a game at Texas Tech.
Yeah, that
had 6 against Oregon.
That's one thing.
Dexter Foster from Oregon State. Put that guy on your big board right now.
That was one guy or one thing that we talked about last year that we kind of glazed over, which was the fact that Dane Key against top competition did not play very well in the SEC. And that was a bit of a concern. And I'll admit, I didn't buy into that as much. I go, hey, Kentucky wasn't, that good of a football team. Who was really throwing him the ball? He's shown the ability, he's played a full SEC season. And honestly, now granted, Dane Key was open a couple of times, and if he had a quarterback that was more accurate, he definitely would have had more touchdowns and more yards. But that was something that popped out when I was looking at Foster's profile. The fact that, hey, you go and you play a good Texas Tech team, and you're able to produce at a high level like that. So I think that's a good indication.
A couple emails here. David writes in to the Equitable Bank inbox where they take banking personally, and Old Man Doug was in early this morning. Old Man Doug, all in on 15-0 Nebraska basketball.
Is he?
I thought he was.
He seemed a little reluctant. He was like, they are legit. Yes, Doug, they've been legit for the last 10 days, the last 2 weeks.
It's okay to acknowledge they're 15-0, whether you root for them or not. A good basketball team.
They're really
3 basketball teams can be good at the same time. It's crazy.
They were good.
2 teams in this town were really good last year.
Okay,
we celebrated. It was okay. Okay, 1 team went to the Crown. They didn't go to the NCAA tournament. It's okay. We can all be good at the same time. All right?
Can I interest you in this, though?
But maybe it's an Omaha thing.
Are they?
I think it is an Omaha thing.
Okay, but this might be an interesting little combo. Are they a great team?
Who?
Nebraska basketball. Are they great?
They're gooder.
Okay, so they're not.
It's early. It's January 6th.
I said
they're a gooder team.
I said damn good. My problem is about
They're
not.
I think they'll end up still as a 4 or maybe a 5 seed.
So is the baseline of them being like a great team, like they would have to beat Michigan, right?
Yeah.
And then we're officially there.
No, I had like a great team that just rolls through the year.
Okay.
Okay. If I promise you that if they finish the regular season unbeaten, I will use the word great. They're a gooder team.
That's okay. That's a little bit too high of a ball.
There's a difference between where Nebraska is and Michigan and Arizona, and those are great teams.
I agree.
But Nebraska is in the gooder category, which is just below where the great category is, and they're above the good teams.
Yeah.
Where like maybe, I don't know, a team you beat last month in Champaign probably resides.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would say that there's probably 3 great teams in college basketball right now? 4? Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, and UConn.
I would throw in Boozer and Evans are going Duke.
Okay.
So
5.
Yeah, there's 4 or 5.
And then Purdue probably is the first out of the gooder teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's Michigan State is in that category with Nebraska as being gooder teams.
And then Gonzaga would probably.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I vibe with that. I'm
Houston,
because there was
a gooder team.
Because our great friend Mike Schaefer tweeted out yesterday that he thought that they were a great team, and he got a lot of support and run on that. I was curious as to what
I'm
your
reserving,
opinion was.
and people can use the word great however they like.
Yeah, it's
to use.
relative. It's relative.
I reserve it, but I like the word gooder. Gooder.
That doesn't exist. That's not a word. Gooder is not
It is
a word.
It is a word today.
No.
You know what? Have you not listened? People just make stuff up and make words up all the time.
Well, yeah,
I like
her
the
name
word-
is Galinda in Wicked. Okay, that was a musical. That's not real life.
I've not seen this.
For you theater kids, that was a great poll.
Was that the one with Ariana Grande?
Yes,
I remember her.
but it's also the musical with Idina Menzel and Chris Control.
Yeah, Adele Dazeem. Yeah.
Yes, Adele Dazeem. Thank you, thank you, Travolta.
All right. Back to David's email.
Gooder ain't a word.
They're gooder.
They're really good.
They're very good.
I would. Fred will probably meet with the media on Friday before they take off for Bloomington. If I was there, I would say, "Would you consider your team a gooder team?" And he would give me a quizzical look, and he'd say, "Yeah." All right, David.
I can see that.
I would take an average quarterback and good lineman the other way. Then the other way. Fans need to relax. That is from David.
How about both?
Well, yeah. I mean,
is that too much to ask? Is that too much to ask?
I'd like
to develop an
I'd like to be
offensive line.
6'4", 225 and coming off a professional career.
But that's
You
okay.
can't have everything.
But that's not. Wait. The ability to achieve that, okay, the differences in ability to achieve that are exponential here because you
great teams have both of those.
Yes. A good offensive line and a good quarterback should not be a hard thing to accomplish. Iowa had it.
It's what would you if I said
They just didn't have a great quarterback.
if I called you up and I said, "Hey, Matt, we got this offer here. I'm a quarterback."
Yeah.
Or if I call you up and I go, "Matt, we got this offer here. You know, my guy who is 6'6", 320 and plays right tackle, he likes you, but who are you going to get into a bidding war for? The quarterback or that lineman? That's your priority."
I think it'd be more relative off of how good I'd probably say lineman. I'd probably say I'm more likely to get into a
So
bid
I'm
with lineman.
I'm okay to
I would
get
say
into a
lineman.
bidding war for linemen.
I am too. Because they don't
I
grow
would
on
get into a
trees.
bidding war for a quarterback that is a proven talent.
I
Yeah.
think you're spot now. At the same point though, like if you told me, hey, there's a great quarterback and there's a great offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Who are you more likely to take? I'm more likely to take the great quarterback. Okay.
Sure.
If there's a good quarterback and a good offensive lineman,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably be more willing to take the good offensive lineman. You know, because I think good offensive linemen are more likely to elevate average quarterbacks into good quarterbacks as opposed to average quarterbacks raising the level of offensive linemen. So great versus great, give me the QB. Good versus good, I'll take the lineman.
Nick
And then the latter is probably what Nebraska's fighting up against more.
Nick says, "Is Dylan coming back?"
No.
Kind of, I was like, "Oh, hey." But no. Dale writes in. So, like the stuff that went on with Nebraska having a quarterback flip from them in the portal. If you want to say the game is gone and you want to give up and you want to embrace FCS chaotic football that was played in the championship last night, which Montana State won a national championship. I believe they're the first team in a long time to block a field goal and an extra point in the last 2 minutes of regulation and overtime. Montana State won the national championship last night on an extra point. Shout out to Taco. It's Taco Tuesday in Bozeman. But if you are looking at the Minchie stuff and agents and broken promises, all of that kind of stuff, and you want to say the game is gone and you want to give up and you're upset, I'm perfectly fine with that. So this is kind of Dale's email here. Hi, Gary. I hate NIL. I think it's ruined college sports. Are there any rules? Who sets the rules? Do these paid athletes pay taxes, federal and state? Do these employees go to class at the schools they work for? Who makes sure they go to classes? Has it made the best high school players in Nebraska leave the state? Does every student employee get paid? The only voice I hear trying to fix this is Nick Saban. What would you do to change it? Do you like what's happening?
So I had a great conversation with a friend of mine who's really into this stuff.
Great or gooder?
A gooder conversation with somebody who's a friend of mine. And he's a diehard college football fan, but he's also in law. He's studying to be a lawyer. Okay.
Oh,
And so he's looked into these things and he's very curious about like the lawsuits and whatnot. So he's got a great knowledge of these things. And we started talking about what the steps would be for college football to like make a league and make unions and collective bargaining agreements. And is it a all-encompassing NCAA collective bargaining agreement, or does every sport have their own union, and does every sport have their own CBA? And how do you handle the laws of like, eligibility and making sure that you still have 18 to 23-year-olds playing because you have age discrimination laws? I bring this all up to say this was like a 30-minute conversation I had. And I go, all of that we just talked about in that half hour, like how many years would that take to like really figure out? He goes, I don't know how many years, but that sounds like the biggest headache of like ever. Like all of the hoops they have to jump through. And then that's just creating the system. That doesn't even factor in the other lawsuits that might come in for people who oppose the system that they create. And so it's like you've kind of entered with nobody's has a hand on the wheel on college sports right now. And because of that, it's going to be a snowball of epic proportions of just headache after headache after headache with no end in sight.
Yeah, yes. Don't you think though that the people in Indianapolis want the government to take over?
Yes. Yes. I think they would.
The people in the sport don't want government interaction, but the people that are at the head of the sport are like, please help us.
Yes.
Please bail us out.
And make laws and make a legislation and make, hey, this is what it's going to be set. Okay, so I don't want to make this statement, but I want to kind of get your thought on it. Like, don't you think we're kind of like we're heading toward the Supreme Court a little bit in a way with some of these? Like, now I don't know what specific case it would be that would head to, because you gotta have like a specific case that they review and that they make a decision on, right? Like the Supreme Court is not just going to say, hey, we're going to figure out college sports for you, right? There has to be an actual case that they have the decision on that sets a precedent. But I just feel like that is where we're heading, and nobody yet has been willing to like grab the reins and say, hey, everybody, this is what we're doing. Like nobody's done that yet. And I don't know if there's really too many people who want to do that because it's going to be such a pain in the ass to figure out.
We're headed to, we will no longer have FCS. FCS will merge with Group of Five, and the Power Fours will separate themselves, and they will be off on their own, and they'll find a way to run the championships for all the sports. And so that the NCAA, which has lost all power and has lost all intimidation, they will go by the wayside. I think that's where we're more likely to happen. But the NCAA's last gasp, and they do run championships well, but they don't run the major sport, which is football, is they're like, hey, can we get some intervention in DC? And
yes,
that's like Texas. What Texas Tech is doing, Texas Tech is challenging the system, and will anybody stop them?
Well,
because there's probably people that are complaining privately about Texas Tech, but they're like, if they're doing it, we got to do it. College sports was better when there were more guardrails and you had to cheat in the dark.
Yeah.
Okay. Now cheating in the light because it's allowed. Yeah.
There's nothing fun about that.
Yeah. It was better when you cheated and you tried to get away with it. And I mean, now instead of having McDonald's sacks full of cash, we have cash that is on the table in the form of a check where you take a picture with your signee. He's putting his autograph on it. I liked it better in the old days of college football when you had to come up with unique ways to cheat.
So it
ruined the sport when we said, you know what, let's just make what used to be illegal, let's make it legal. Everybody go at it. You know what? The teams that were the best when the teams could cheat.
Would you like it better if Nebraska were to post a photo of like somebody signing and there was a McDonald's bag right in front of them?
Hey, we're still doing it. The first thing I think of is, they got an NIL deal. Oh man, Jeff Sims at Amigos. Oh, this is going to be
Did you ever have
DJ
that combo?
Legway, McDonald's.
Did you ever have that combo?
Yeah, they had a little media thing.
Was it good?
Well, it was like the typical
Amigos.
It wasn't like anything they
knew
Chris
made
burrito
specifically.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, I don't know. It's one of those things with the whole tampering. Like everybody's talking about tampering.
Oh, screw that. You know what? Who cares if people tampered with the players at Iowa State? And Nebraska talks about their players being tampered with. Why don't you tamper? Okay?
Yeah.
Why don't you tamper?
But it's not tampering. It's negotiations.
No. It's tampering. It's tampering right now. If I need a quarterback and I don't see a guy that I want that's not in the portal, I'm going to tamper with him and go, if you get into the portal, you're our guy.
But if nobody's getting in trouble for it, it's a part of the game.
I don't care.
That's what
I'm not
agreeing
for
with
the
you.
sport. I'm for my team.
Yeah.
I want my team to do whatever. I don't care about the sanctity of the sport. That's long gone. I care about my team. I don't care about, if we don't do it, then the sport will be. No, everybody's doing it. Okay. And I know that's not like if everybody's doing it, well, you're going to do it. Does that just make it good?
Yeah.
You know what? In this case, yes.
Yes. No,
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
But well, if nobody's tampering is a negative word. Tampering is like hey, this is an illegal word, right?
Everybody tampers.
If everybody's doing it, it's not tampering. It's called negotiations. It's just called standard practices. So you should practice it.
I mean, I want my guys to be tampered with. That means I got a good team. Okay. If I look around the room, go, anybody been tampered with? Nobody raises their hand. I'm like,
dang it.
Darn.
I only got 15 guys
have fun at Tulsa.
I only got 15 guys on a list of players I'm most excited for. What are we doing? We have 105 guys in this roster. Only 15 of them?
What are we down to? 96?
I have no clue.
Plus 2 portal guys. I think that's on the my man cave board.
My yellow paper list is in my bag. I can pull that out later for you.
Shout out with Montana State, by the way, winning their OC and quarterback coach, Pete Sturbeck. I've told the story before. His dad coached at Bennington, Glenwood, and Lewis Central. So he's an up-and-comer as the OC now of the FCS National Champions. And can we go back to 1AA? Let's go 1A, 1AA.
I was just sad to see the Redbirds just get knocked. It was a magical run for them.
Yeah, you know what? I've had trouble kicking. Why am I kicking in overtime? Okay,
that's a good point.
Especially when the fan runs down as you score your touchdown, and he's already got 2 fingers up. He's like, "Do not kick," and they kicked, and then they got away with the face mask.
They did get away with the face mask.
The holder, or was it the kicker? The kicker grabbed the guy that picked up the blocked PAT.
Yeah.
He just grabbed his face mask, and there was no like repercussion.
He's like Archie Wilson. He doesn't know the rules.
It's no like, hey, instead of having at the 25, 15-yard penalty, you're going to start at the 10. That was a wild game.
That was fun.
I like FCS football.
It was a great comeback.
It was just the game was drunk.
It was.
And we had a guy named Taco Dowler, who, by the way, for 6 months with his brother was Burrito. It's a great story. I'll tell the story before we're done.
Okay.
All right, we're back with more Gary and Matt after this on 1620 The Zone. I think the only thing missing last night in Nashville in that FCS final was a Pop-Tart.
Dude, the Pop-Tart Bowl had more viewers than the NBA Western Conference Finals last year.
The
That's
NBA needs
wild.
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I think
That's
that
a dream bowl.
Turned out to be a really good game between BYU and Georgia Tech. Marketing is everything.
Rose Bowl.
The Pop-Tart Bowl, and did you see the Cheez-It Dragon?
Yes.
They made a dragon out of Cheez-Its. I think this is, look, we've talked about this before. My generation and this generation of people on social media, they love stupid comedy. They just love things that are just ridiculous and stupid. And it is ridiculous that we have a live mascot that goes through a really big toaster that ends up being the trophy that's edible for one of the best teams in college football. And then we have a Cheez-It Dragon.
Where was SRS distribution? Why didn't they distribute
I know,
something?
but I'm saying, enough, if you want to be a popular bull, enough with these, like, the Bad Boy Mowers or SRS. Stop with these corporate sponsors. You got to go ahead and you got to do something weird. You like
Cotton Bowl. Bring mobile back. Dump gasoline on the winning coach.
You need like the Fruit by the Foot Holiday Bowl.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Instead of the will thing.
Sure,
that
whatever
had,
the hell it. Yeah. Screw that. No.
Enjoy the bowl game because you're gonna die. Make a will.
Yeah. Give me like a Little Debbie snack holiday cake bowl. How about that? Yeah. And then we give the winning team a bunch of Little Debbie's, custom Little Debbie snacks.
That might be your finest idea.
I know. I could work in promotions. Yeah. I could not.
What do you think Kawan Lacey's getting paid? So they just announced that he has signed to return in 2026. People forget that.
Do people forget? Not these. I don't think we forget.
Was probably committed to Nebraska in the class of 24, and then late October of Rule's first year, he decommitted and took some cash and went to Mizzou, and now is at Ole Miss.
And he'll
probably back for another year.
He's probably worth $1 million. Probably anywhere from $8 to $1 million. That is what I would get for Mr. Lacey. I think that's what that's what has been indicated that the top running backs are getting, but nothing really over $1 million. I wonder what Ahmad Hardy is going to get
to stay.
Yeah, not to go. I don't think he's going. I think he'd be in the portal by now.
I don't know. Has he announced that he's coming back? He would be one of those guys they have to announce.
He hasn't entered yet.
Like, do we still need, McGahee went into the portal yesterday, which I don't know. That just was a weird year. Never popped. I think the new 4.25 is going to eat some people.
Sure.
And they're going to eat them up and spit them into the portal. So McGahee redshirted, got on the field for a couple of plays in the Vegas Bowl. I thought he would pop, didn't pop. But that whole jack position, just there's another part of the whole portal thing going on. This is on Rule. Second straight year, the defensive line coach. Last year, he was working for Nebraska and the Kansas City Chiefs. This year, they don't officially have one. At one of the key positions in the Big Ten Conference.
Not just at one of the key positions in the Big Ten Conference. Gary, one of the key positions that you have to address on your roster. That was part of the reason you ended up being 7-6.
And by the way, they're like, I've asked numerous people in the last 48 hours, like nobody's hearing anything. Like,
is Rule just going to do it himself?
Well, I mean, and they're pursuing, but they've like kept it like nobody has a leak or a name or other than like, okay, Frank Oakham. Nobody has like, well, I think this is who we all just assume it's somebody that's still coaching.
Sure.
But that's 2 straight years where your defensive line coach isn't boots on the ground in Lincoln full time.
It'd be a second straight year, too, of where you would probably have to go and hire in the NFL. And that worked out great the first time.
I mean, that could be coaching one of the 4 teams that are playing right now.
Okay, then that would be the only way I'd be like, that's awesome. Good for you.
All right. Nebraska basketball is 15-0. Brian Christopherson has got thoughts coming up next. All right. Any portal movement, we'll keep you abreast of. But first, let's talk to Brian Christopherson, who is all over this. He's juggling basketball coverage, portal coverage, and he joins us now to give us a little time from Husker 24/7. Good morning, BC.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. Nebraska basketball is 15-0.
Yeah.
Now, I know where I say that sarcastic, not sarcastic, that's facts. Let's just for a moment, it's January 6th. And they just went on the road and won a game where they shot 8 of 29 from three-point range, and Mass and Sanford combined were 8 of 25. They won by 3 at Ohio State to get to 15-0, 4-0 in the conference. How wild is this?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to take a couple steps back and be like, that. Just appreciate it. Think back to 2 months ago, some of the things we wondered about this team, and we looked at the schedule and there were certain weeks on it where you're like, oh, that's going to be rough. They come out of the new year and it's Michigan State and then at Ohio State, at Indiana. Don't like that. There's 3 weeks already on this schedule, and this is the third one where I was that guy, before the season. Sure. I don't like how this sets up for them. If they can, I've been on this show talking about man, if they could just get a split or one of those 3 games, you go from there. That's not the way they're looking at it. However, they have to do it over a 40-minute segment or whatever number of minutes it takes. They're going to reroute and figure out a way expecting to win. And that's a pretty special quality in a team. And I think we now are halfway through this season where you kind of get past that point of just yeah, but what about the next one? Of course, they're going to lose a few along the way. There could be a stretch where they lose, 2 or 3 in a row. That can happen in basketball. But the way this team handles its business and then immediately after talks about the next one, and you don't take it as just some cliche press conference line, you actually believe that's sort of their mindset, that they establish it in the locker room right away. Okay, on to the next thing. What are we going to do next? They're just not taking their eye off the ball right now. Now we'll see at some point maybe how they have to deal with when things don't go their way a couple times, and you have to offer that response. But yeah, you laid out the stats to win a game like that, and the points off turnovers were 17-8, Ohio State, and the Mass and Sanford really didn't get going till the last 5 to 10 minutes offensively. You've got a special sort of mindset to pull off a game like that. And then, Braden Frager, after kind of being in the news around here the last few days, to offer that sort of response and score 15 and have 2 just major takes in the last few minutes with the and ones. I mean, he's playing at Big Ten Freshman of the Year kind of level right now.
I think we can all agree, man, the season for Nebraska football would look so much different if Emmett Johnson didn't, put on the performance he put on and ended up being an All-American. And, he's going to the NFL draft, and, he'll be picked probably, on day 3. But you gotta replace a guy like that, right? You got to replace a dynamic offensive weapon like that. Brian, this is kind of a 2-parter here. Do you see a dynamic offensive weapon who can play near the level of Emmett Johnson or have near the amount of production Emmett Johnson had currently on this roster? And is Nebraska even talking to anybody, regardless of position, that could have that type of impact right now in the portal?
Man, I'm thinking through the roster right now. Obviously, Emmett's going to be a big hole to fill. I know there's always a lot of conversation about running back, and I've been sort of someone who's a proponent of adding one more to the competition there with the guys you have and just playing it out that way. But I will say, we can go through position to your question. I don't know, first off, who the exact answer to that is right now. There's probably teams across the country that are in the same boat. I mean, right now we're trying to figure out who the quarterback is. So, I mean, it's sort of it's tough to get into that, and call that shot 7 or 8 months out. But I would say on the running backs, first off, I think they're going to they could add a guy, but I also took Rule's post-game press conference quotes as we really like our room, and that's sort of their last of their worries there. At wide receiver, I think, you could see them add one guy, but it's not the same push at that position as previously. So there's going to be, you're hoping for Isaiah Hunter and Ja'Cory Barney to come back and be those type of dudes for you, and then guys build around that. So I mean, those are where you start. It's those names at receiver, and then those running backs who are young and kind of unproven, but they believe in. They're going to hope step up. But first things first. It's like who's going to take the snaps, and so we got a lot to figure out over the next 2 weeks, and then you kind of try to sort through all that.
Any lesson to be learned, you think, as you're starting to hear stuff and sift through what happened last night with Minchie being flipped in the portal to Kentucky? Any lesson to be learned from Nebraska's standpoint as they now pursue another quarterback?
That's a good question. I suppose you could say there is, but in some ways it's also like we can all say like, hey, there's probably no rules in this game, right? Like people just do whatever they want to in the portal. Nebraska, I would say they got screwed on that one pretty good. You have an agreement and people say, well, he's not signed, but he did have a no contact label on. And so I just think they thought that was all secured. And I guess, and I don't know that it's a lesson to them. I'm sure they're always aware, like in the way it is and how sharp knives people bring to the fight. At any time, something really strange can happen, or what you think is locked up isn't locked up until the signature's down. I'm sure they think that way. But I guess it's just an example that even when the word of a player seems strong, the commitment graphics are out, all that stuff is there. Until they're signed or here, you just can't bank on it. And I mean, it's too bad because it doesn't mean Nebraska can't find a guy who's as good or better. That's what's going to be fascinating about how this plays out. I mean, we don't know what Minchie's going to do. I like the pickup of him initially, and I wrote this because of how Nebraska could attack the big picture, and I liked his upside with probably what they were paying him to come compete with Latif, and then you also have resources to maybe get another quarterback elsewhere, and you use it throughout your roster to help that QB be on a good team. And so I don't know what that does to that plan. There might have to be some recalibrating there, and you might have to go up with your price tag now because of just where you're at with it's a little more desperate now. That's the way it is. And so that probably bolsters the dollar signs you're going to have to put on somebody, even if you're not sure if that person has the resume that warrants that. So that's where it's tough, because I actually think they had it like that first day of the portal when Minchie was sort of known that he was going to be coming here, or thought that. It's like this sets up toward attacking this whole portal cycle the way they want. And now you've got to go an alternative route. And you hope they sort of at least had like this kind of plan in their back pocket in case that happened, even though they weren't expecting it.
Has this gone, and I think I know the answer to it already, but how you anticipated the portal going in the first 4 days here? Has it gone the way that you thought it would for Nebraska?
It has, other than last night. I mean,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was on the path that they kind of wanted it. I know there's some people who are like, I want a few more fireworks so far. I don't think they're in a big problem as far as that, because I think there's a few guys that are, I say this with a little caution now, but I think there's a few guys that are close or are already in the boat, and obviously on the defensive side, I mean, a big part of this is Rob Orich is going to probably have, a few guys, I'd say at least 3 from San Diego State that probably come over here. And some people are going to look at that and be like, oh, can those guys produce at this level? It's a fair question. We'll see. But what they're going to do with that, if that happens, is very normal for any coaching staff. A guy comes over, he's got some talented guys he thinks fit at this level and he thinks will fit his scheme, you're usually going to have them come with you. And so I think some of that's going to play out over the next couple of days where you'll see a few more of those guys raise their hand. And that's going to buoy some spirits.
Sure.
I thought the Chambliss pickup was monster. It was expected, but it was, I felt like he was like one of the biggest guys they had to get on the defense just because of how well he fits what Orich did last year with his 110 tackles. I think he had 9.5 TFLs. Like he's a havoc maker, or has been. And so that's a position he had to upgrade. And I like the Brendan Black one off the cuff. I'm not going to go over the top with these guys. People are tired of that in the off season. But, he's played like 2,100 snaps, and he could be that guy who fits right in where like Rocco Spindler was. So that's a big get. And I think Jeep Wade and Lonnie Teasley have enough connections that I'm not that worried, honestly, about them figuring out sort of how they can add a few more pieces there and how that looks. Your question about who the playmakers are is a fair one, the bit going back a couple, and that's going to be interesting if they're willing to throw some money at one more running back. I don't know if they will or not, though. That's just listening to Rule at the post game. That's where I'm not sure they are. And I know people want that, but I'm just going off of what I've heard from them and sort of taking that into account.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see the next jump by Hunter coming back full health in 2026. Back to the offensive line. So they get a guy that's started 30 games at Iowa State. So he's played Power 4 football. He's played a lot of snaps. He's played in a program that's got a good culture, and they're used to winning. And he is your right guard. He's not shifting. They got him to be a right guard. They had a couple of options. They said, first to take it, you're in as our right guard. So I think we can say there are 3 spots locked up on the offensive line. What do you think happens with the tackle position opposite Pritchett? Do they roll with Gatula as the number 1 guy, or do you think there's a chance that Gatula could move inside?
Gatula's a versatile guy that I wouldn't discount from doing anything. And you also have to leave everything open with just new eyes on these guys. And of course, because of Gatula's injury, Jeep and Lonnie Teasley didn't really get to look at him fully yet. But I think when he gets out on the field, that's going to be one of those players just because of how he's built. And, Rule will talk to him about it too, his upside. Like he's a guy where I think your question is good, Gary, because he could probably do multiple things for you. He's got that capability. I think you got to continue to push that competition at right tackle as much as you can. If you can find someone else here in the portal to bring the fight to that, I suspect they might do that. And then that could allow you also to move Gatula inside if he was one of your best 5. So it's going to be interesting to talk more to Jeep Wade just over time and see kind of how he sees certain guys and swinging guys to different positions, how much you want to cross-train guys at certain points in the year and all that. I don't know all of his philosophy on that, but Gatula is definitely a guy that as all this goes on, people should not forget. And then there's those guys just behind the scenes. We could name off 4 or 5 of them. It's like, let's go, right? I mean,
it is go time. Sledge, bricks.
Yeah, I mean, let's see it. It's not like there's nothing in that cupboard. There's guys who we were really excited about when they committed, and that's where Nebraskans are they're tired because they get excited about like Grant Bricks, when he commits, and they just haven't seen him yet. And now the O-line's a tough position to get on the field for a few years. That's the way it happens sometimes. But I will say one of my biggest disappointments, and I've said it on this show, was last year, even as the injuries were stacking up on the O-line, I felt like there should have been like that 2nd or 3rd year guy that we were all kind of buzzing about, like in week 8 or 9, like, okay, it's his chance. Let's see what this looks like. And that didn't really happen. It was sort of just reshaping some pieces that we already kind of knew about to get through the season. And so I'm hoping that dynamic sort of changes going forward.
And then on top of that too, Brian, like you have guys like Torres and Maciejczak who were kind of in that discussion as younger offensive line guys you were waiting to pop, and then they end up entering the portal. I want to ask you this question because I know it's one of your guys.
What happened at the tight end position, and what's the future for the tight end position on this team? Because it seemed like early on in the year, especially Luke Lindenmeyer, was a very big asset, just not just in the red zone, but throughout the field, and really good safety valve routes, ran some great routes, and then did a great job blocking as well. And then it just seemed like even a little bit before, but especially after the Dylan Raiola injury, the tight ends were not being used as much. Is that, where are we kind of at when the outlook of the tight end room when it comes to the passing game and just how they're going to affect the offense?
Yeah, I'd love to see an uptick there too. I mean, you can go through and all these positions, and I think you would say, I want a little bit more, actually more than a little bit in some cases. And that's not a knock on necessarily guys individually. It's just sort of the whole offense of I think Lindenmeyer does have really good capabilities to be more productive stats wise probably than he was, and you got to find a way to get him the rock sometimes, but you're going to need other guys to step up. I know Carter Nelson has just dealt with injuries sort of since he got here, and that has definitely hindered his progress, and you got to be fair to that conversation. But Caden Ector-Knox, a young guy they like as a blocker and stuff. So there was some development parts going on, but like every spot we're talking about, it's got to be more dynamic, and it's got to be something where I think too in the red zone you can find a way to get the lid off that, right, with the tight ends. That's a position where you expect sort of to make some hay down there, and that didn't really happen a lot. They tried it on a few plays, and it didn't connect sometimes. But I mean, we will talk all off season about red zone on both sides of the ball. And one position group where, you'd love to get the QB and the tight end going and lift your stats there. That connects directly to that specific talking point.
We'll get you out on this. So school starts back up on Monday, so guys are coming back. They'll get right into winter conditioning. And Rule alluded to some guys that had signed, that are coming back. Some publicly after the bowl game last week announced it, like Riley Van Poppel, Shavers announced it, Lenhart announced it. Is there a couple of guys that are on your radar that you're waiting for them publicly to say, I've re-signed to come back?
What's really interesting is sort of watching the ebbs and flows of how information has changed over my career and like how it gets shared. Like some years, it becomes all about these massive graphics all over the place. And, it just things change over time. And I have not noticed quite as many people. I don't know if it's happening elsewhere outside our space, but I haven't noticed as many guys like just saying that they re-signed or whatever on my feed outside of Nebraska even. So I don't know if there's just been a shift there. But there are guys, of course, to get to the meat of your question, and I'm not saying that I think they're on the way out or anything. This isn't saying that. It's just they're good. They can be really good for this team. So you wonder about Jacory, he's a guy that you think about he's important to the process. There's a couple receivers maybe, younger guys who, Cortez Mills and guys like that who you want to see keep going forward with this program. On the O-line, I think it's paramount that you have Evans and Pritchett back, and I'm not saying there's a warning sign or anything at all. Pritchett was very excited for what it's worth about Lonnie Teasley, and that might have worked out perfectly for Nebraska. His season was not it was weird, right? He didn't start off the bat and people are kind of ticked off, but now as you look at it, you're maybe that played out just right for Nebraska, where he's at in his career and how it sort of built to just run it back in 26 with some coaches he kind of likes. But those are guys like that where if someone put out a graphic or something, I think it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt if you guys did it today. I'll have to be honest with you. That would be something where someone in the program could maybe elbow somebody if they knew they're coming back. Say, hey, throw up a little something on X and let that play, because that could help the masses this morning.
All right, you got to go back to work. I know you're busy. Great job. I know this is not. It's kind of wild to try and cover. You're talking to agents. You're talking to people that are in your network. But great job following this. And the one thing about the chaotic 2-week portal window we have found out early on is every hour is something new. So good luck today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That's Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. No, it'd be like, this would be a good day for like Andrew Marshall.
Yes.
Because Rule did say in his post game after the Vegas Bowl, we have multiple guys that have resigned. Some went ahead and publicly said, because they were asked by the media assembled in Vegas, hey, are you coming back? And, Van Poppel and Len Hart and Shavers all said, yeah, I'm coming back. Yeah, there's just a couple guys like, may not even be like Pritchett's going to come back.
Yeah.
And Pritchett's going to have a really good 26. Bold prediction on January 6th.
I think that's I wouldn't call it a bold prediction, but I would call it a good prediction.
People are a little suspect. They're like, I don't know if he can do it for a full time. Well, his back end was better because he was better.
Yeah.
And better on and off the field. He's a captain. If we're talking about him being a captain, I think that bodes really well. Plus, bottom line is they need him to be really good.
Yeah.
They can't have questions about their tackle spots.
No.
Now they have a tackle spot that's kind of open. I think Gatula, I would move Gatula to guard. I like to see him play at guard and go get yourself a tackle.
I wouldn't mind that either. I mean, it's one of those things where they've kind of recruited some of these offensive linemen that are like the tweeners between, hey, you're not a true 6'7", 300+ pound, super long arm tackle. But, I don't think that would be a bad move at all. They got to move. I wouldn't mind if they moved a couple of guys, gave them a couple different positions this year on both the offensive end and the defensive end. I'm still on I want Donovan Jones to be a linebacker.
All right, 25 past the hour. Ken Pomeroy has updated Nebraska's projection. I'll tell you what that is after their win last night in Columbus to get them to 15-0. 15-0.
31-0? Is that his projection?
Maybe it is. Not very far away.
No, only 16 games.
Yep, we're back with more after this. All right, college football playoff. We got a run of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday football ahead of us. Last night was day 26 of 26 in a row with football. Been a nice little run. D3 final on Sunday night and the FCS final in Nashville yesterday. They're playing in Nashville because they're redoing the stadium in Frisco. They had like 24,000 people there. People love Nashville.
Yeah, I got to go to Nashville. I think I was dogging.
Go Broadway first time, but then venture a little bit off Broadway, Music Row. See a little bit of Nashville that they don't show on all the beauty shots when they're showing either a bowl game or a Titans game there.
That's interesting you say that, because there are people who I know who live in Nashville who say the same thing. They're like, do the Broadway. And so you could say I went to, Morgan Wallen's bar, and I went to Aldine's bar, and I went to this country artist, which I've listened to like 8 songs of bar, and then, go ahead and do the more interesting, non-touristy thing. So I've made fun of Nashville a lot on the show.
Why?
Well, because it's become the, typical bachelorette
the
party.
Bachelorette capital of the world, yeah.
It's just
person your age with your friends.
It's become too touristy. I feel like Nashville probably has lost a little bit of its flavor.
Where would you
it's
go
lost
instead?
Its authenticity, because it's just like it's all about the tourists. Like nobody, like how many, if you go to Broadway, right, and you're walking around, you're meeting a bunch of people, like how many people are you going to live who actually were born and raised in Nashville?
You will meet a lot of people. Because it hasn't turned into a big
transplant
city. Transplant city.
Yeah. Sure.
People that are from that part of Tennessee that have lived in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's a popular tourist spot because it's music, live music. It's a hot town.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the South. Like the people that live there, and I have 2 really good friends that I went to school with, that I've worked with, live in Nashville, and they are lifelong Tennesseans. And their whole thing is, it's great tourists that kind of give our city a bad name. And they're the ones that tell me, hey, and I've been there.
Yeah.
We're going to take you to other places to see it. Not everything is Broadway. Broadway's fun.
Sure.
But it's like people that live in Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. People that live in Vegas don't spend all their time on the Strip.
Sure.
They maybe only go down to the Strip when they have visitors in town.
Exactly.
Okay. Or they want to go see a specific show. It's not like every day they're going to the Strip and that's the only place they go in Vegas.
Let's go
It's
look
kind
at
of
the
turned that
Sphere.
way in Nashville.
Yeah.
Now, Nashville's in line to be possibly another home for Major League Baseball. So they're going to host a Super Bowl.
They are.
Nashville is going to get a Super Bowl.
That'll be sick. That'll be a sick Super Bowl.
Matt, I think you'd love Nashville.
I think
really
my
do.
thing is that I'm glad that you're talking this way and you're speaking this way, because I am the uneducated person who just reads the what they say about Nashville on barstoolsports.com about like how it's all touristy.
It's a fun city though.
And so it's
a really fun city if you like live music.
Great music.
It probably has gotten a bad name in people who haven't been there, and people who don't like a lot of people in one condensed spot like I do. Like
I hate people, and I would like Nashville.
Well,
Really?
I think
live music.
What did they say? What was the attendance at the Vegas Bowl? 40,000.
I think it was
Decent.
44.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nebraska had maybe 15,000 there.
Probably.
Tell you, if they
Thereabouts.
would have gone to Nashville, Nashville is closer in driving distance from
Oh
here.
my God, I was way off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. 27,000 at the Vegas Bowl.
Really?
Oh,
It
that's
looked
it?
better.
Yeah, that's what it said. This is what.
Well, they didn't have
Google
anybody in
says.
the upper deck. It looked like
Okay.
watching the game on TV.
Yeah.
So if it's in Nashville, that's
Oh.
why I was excited for possibly be playing in Nashville.
Sure.
And you would have been playing Tennessee, and you could have exerted the Big Ten dominance. But yeah, no, Nashville is fun.
Okay.
Don't let
Okay.
that sway your opinion, because
Sure.
there's a lot of people that go there to celebrate, their bachelorette party.
Yeah.
There's enough
enough
cement to walk on. Or
You know
to
me
have
though.
fun.
I'm a curmudgeon, and I don't like places that are at like 105% capacity, and I don't like being shoulder to shoulder.
This
with
is why we
people.
get along.
This
And-
is why you
and-
go to the zoo in non-zoo times of the year in this town.
Well,
Hey,
yeah,
that was-
I had a great time, other than the fact that no elephants were out there. I was really mad about that.
You missed the elephants?
There was
Damn, they were there when I
none
was
of them
there.
were out there. None of the elephants were out there. None
Wait.
of the lions were out there. There was one tiger.
You didn't go inside to see the elephants?
Yeah, they got their
There was
little
an indoor elephant.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
where
that's
they
where
eat.
they originate,
Oh,
and then they go outside.
Yeah.
I didn't.
But
know.
most of the time, they're inside.
I didn't go in the see. I needed a guide. There's a lot of the Omaha Zoo that I don't think I really discovered. I'm still creeped out about those alligators. That was one of the worst moments I've experienced.
Would you say
in my
the
life.
albino alligator?
I did not know, because I ran through there. I told you I have a fear of alligators. It's a legitimate.
They can
fear.
sense fear.
I know.
Aaron Hernandez.
They were okay.
That out of all the Gators that you could have brought up,
I'd be scared of him.
You brought up Aaron Hernandez.
Why would I be scared of Tim Tebow?
Okay.
What about Ted Bundy?
You could have.
Ted Bundy lived in Gainesville.
Yeah.
Could have said Cam
Good
Newton.
pull.
Like if you were going to have, if you were going to rank college football programs,
great,
by the mass murderer that is attached to their city.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
Been waiting for
Ted
this segment.
Bundy or Starkweather.
Probably Bundy.
He had more documentaries.
He did.
Ted Bundy in about
He
5
had-
or 6 games.
He did have more, and he's had more famous Hollywood actors try and play him and impersonate him. So I would go Bundy for
Yeah.
sure. Bundy's a hard one to beat.
No, yeah, it'll get you 20 and 10.
Can we stop talking about Ted Bundy as if he's David Robinson?
David Robinson got you more than 20 and 10. Do not slander the Admiral.
I feel kind of special when it comes to serial killers.
Why do you feel special?
Because a place that Ted Bundy frequented in Gainesville, I've been to, and then after the whole Dahmer stuff,
yeah,
I wanted to see where Dahmer's neighborhood, and there was a corner bar that Dahmer used to go to, and so I went in there.
His Cheers.
Yeah, it's like a tour. You could do a tour of
That is a
tragedy.
very morbid tour. Do you know that? That is a very
not seeing bodies.
disgusting tour to go on. Yeah, we're talking about some of the worst people in human existence.
You're learning.
Yeah, but the
we're-
place where Ted Bundy went to in Gainesville is now a very popular bar.
Do you want to go and have breakfast where John Wayne Gacy was having breakfast?
He's not going to be there.
I'd hope not.
I know, but
That'd be a
still.
story.
Get
a
There's a lot
selfie.
of people that go on these tours. They might be morbid, but they sell.
Yeah.
So do you want to go to like Dr. Death's childhood house?
Go to Dr. Dre's.
I mean,
well, that would be a cool tour to go to Dr.
history.
Dre's childhood house, right? And
Legend.
see, the things that made him inspired to make music. But I don't want to go to Harold Shipman's house, and be like, yeah, this was his first knife.
How about that?
I don't think they have it on display.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're referring to.
Would you like to see the
You're
weapon?
you're saying that you're proud and you're happy that you have frequented places that notorious serial killers have frequented. That's kind of weird.
All right. Cheddar's Cheetah.
There we
He
go.
said Bundy versus Starkweather. Bundy would be a 5-point favorite.
That's
Bundy
solid.
against Dahmer. Dahmer would be a 1.5.
No way.
That would go to game 7.
No.
I'm
I'd take
convinced.
Bundy over Dahmer any day.
I don't know, man.
Fourth quarter would be tied.
Dahmer's from Milwaukee, so I have a bias against him.
Dahmer closed.
Yeah.
And Bundy didn't.
You guys ever watch that? Was it HBO or Netflix?
It was Netflix.
Oh God,
I saw that one.
So you heard about the story? The guy that played Dahmer, had a breakdown.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he looked like spot on.
So I haven't watched it
Method
because I'm not
actors.
into that type of stuff, but I saw the clip that everybody was famous of him playing the video, right? He was playing
Yeah.
a video to somebody. And I was like, man, this guy's, I don't know his name, but I was like, this guy's a really good actor. But wouldn't that suck to like, can you imagine like you had Daniel Day-Lewis, who's like a method actor, and you gave him did Daniel Day-Lewis ever play a serial killer?
I'd have to. I didn't do that research. Tom Cruise, method actor. Obviously, the late
Tom
great
Cruise
Heath
is not
Ledger.
a method actor.
Yes, he said so himself when he played the dude in Eyes Wide Shut. He had to become that character for 18
Yeah,
months.
but
Very
he's
uncomfortable.
not okay. But like, he's not Ethan Hunt trying to save the world when they're not rolling the cameras.
Well, no, he was. Well, he wasn't Ethan Hunt in that movie. He was Bill Harford.
No, but I'm saying that you would be a method actor in every single movie that you do.
That's Jason Bateman. He's the same guy in every movie.
No, that's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, who's the same guy in every movie.
I did not know this. Brian writes in. He said, "Did you know if you're a Springsteen fan and you've listened to the Nebraska album, there is part of Starkweather in there?"
Ooh.
I know that Natural Born Killers.
Great movie.
So one of the storylines in Natural Born Killers is straight out of the Starkweather.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did you
Mickey
see?
and Mallory.
You didn't respond to me. But I, you didn't. I'm just gonna say it. It's not inside baseball, but go ahead. I sent you the picture of Bill Simmons' top 10 most rewatchable movies. Did you look at it?
Yeah. There are some on there that I've seen.
Yeah.
That I would go back and watch.
On the stream, we have some love for BTK. Don't want to forget the Kansans in there. So you go see
Who's
his house.
BTK?
There's a podcast. You can go down a deep dive.
Can I guess the movie out on Ben Simmons or Bill Simmons' top 10 most rewatchable movies that you like the most?
Celtic Pride.
BTK was Wichita, right?
Yeah.
I think you're a big Miami Vice guy.
the television show greater than the movie.
Oh, my dad would agree with
Yeah.
that. Am I wrong though? Did I get that wrong from you? Have I not read you correctly?
Like Miami Vice.
I got to watch The Town. The Town seems like my type of movie. Because I love Boston.
No wonder you like Bill Simmons.
I
Okay,
love
I
Bill
got you. I got you.
I think Bill Simmons.
All right, Ken Pomeroy.
Yes, 31.
Oh, yeah, I
wait a
forget.
minute. Hold on here.
Sorry, this wasn't our tease wasn't about, hey, we're going to talk
yeah.
about serial killers and movies.
And Nashville.
And Nashville. Great tourist town, apparently.
Mike Knight. Hello, Mike. Mike said he went through it. He was hollering at the TV last night watching Nebraska basketball. So this might add to Bundy being more of a favorite. Mark Harmon played Bundy.
Okay.
So there's a
UCLA
tie in
Bruin.
here. Yeah, because he also was
Mr.
a quarterback at UCLA when they beat Nebraska.
Okay. I like that. Now you have me reading about Jeffrey Dahmer.
You're not familiar with his work?
No, but I knew that.
Don't celebrate his
Like
entire
I
catalog.
have like the spark notes on these guys, but I don't have the the full details and everything that was like serial killers is like 90s baseball to me. Like I kind of know what happened, but I don't know all the details that
Tell me
probably
about
most people
Orlando
do.
Merced.
Yeah.
Not a serial
No.
killer.
Who's the John Smoltz of serial killers? Paul Klushkin.
I'm trying to think.
Me too. Who would you want in Game 7 in
Yeah,
the Metrodome
exactly.
against the great Jack Morris? That's a great damn question.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But
Just
not Jack
trustworthy.
Tripper.
Just trustworthy. Not the best, not the greatest. Probably not even the best in America, but you know what? Probably not the best on his team. But still, you can trust him. And then he ends up becoming a color commentator that everybody hated, and now they think he's an old man yelling at the clouds. John Smoltz.
John texts in. He said went to BTK's church when went to BTK's church when he was an elder there, and I was in college. You can tour that on the
Yeah.
serial killer tour package.
Shout out Park City.
I'm pretty sure that somebody in Milwaukee, as bad as that was, and that was bad.
It was bad.
I mean, that was bad.
Yes, it was.
It's frowned upon.
Why are you guys saying it?
And it really-
like it's
it really
like it's
painted-
like it's a tempered take.
It really painted Milwaukee in a bad light.
17 men died. Okay,
I'm very aware. I
it was
watched
terrible.
the movie.
It was awful.
I remember the story.
Okay,
Yeah, it was
Just as
awful.
much as I remember the Bucks blowing
And
it
the
in
way
playoffs
and the
every
way
year.
in which they died. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
but
There has to be somebody in Milwaukee that came up with, well, let's do a tour. Because just like people's houses that you know where they live.
Sure.
When I went to find the bar,
Yeah.
it was pretty clear people knew where Dahmer lived, and
Sure.
they would point
Sure.
that out.
You could see who the tourists were.
I think it's been torn down since this was shortly after after Dahmer was captured. He was actually still alive.
You walk around anywhere in the loop and you end up being at a place that Al Capone was. at.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Okay, Ken Pomeroy.
yeah, go ahead.
Right, 31-0.
Sorry.
Oh,
I just can't believe that for a second Jimmy was comparing Brandon Jennings' shortcomings in the playoffs to Ted Bundy.
Oh, not those Bucks. No. Those weren't my Bucks.
Those were my Bucks.
I know. Loved Terry Cummings as a kid.
Andrew Bogut. Yeen Jinglin. Coached by Scott Skiles.
Nebraska basketball is 15-0, almost halfway through the season. Ken Pom has adjusted his season win total.
Okay.
14-6 in the Big Ten.
Oh my God.
25-6 overall.
Oh my God. That's a power.
So what would that would probably get you a 4, right?
That might get you 3.
Yeah, the show needs to go to
That might get you
Wichita for
3.
those games. Ooh, tying it back in.
It could get you a 3. I guess
25-6.
Are we so
He has him losing on Saturday for the first time.
Yeah.
Losing to Purdue. Also losing one of the Iowa games, the game in Iowa City. Let's see. Hold on.
it's got to be Michigan, Purdue, Iowa City.
Okay, hold on here. UCLA,
Yeah.
Iowa, Purdue, Illinois at home, and Michigan. And then the game on Saturday. Those
Illinois
are his
at home.
6 losses.
Illinois.
All by a total of, well, he has Michigan beat Nebraska by 17.
Well,
But
so
1-point game this weekend, 1-point game with the Fighting Illini, 4-point game with Purdue, 4-point game at Iowa City, 1-point game out in LA.
Oh, I see one loss there.
Whoa. He's got 3 1-point losses.
19-1.
So they could technically
yeah.
I mean, he could have them projected to be like 28-2.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. So where are they ranked overall? They were 22 before the game yesterday. Are they up at all from 22 overall?
In the net or
no,
in
Ken Pom?
19.
They're 19?
Yep.
Okay.
So here's the Big Ten. Michigan is 1, Purdue 4, Illinois 8, Michigan State 12, Iowa, which plays at Minnesota tonight, 17, but Iowa hasn't won a road game this year, and then Nebraska at 19. Now, also, Nebraska started the year in Ken Pom 51.
Yeah.
People also forget, so this would be a good time to remind you, in the Big Ten preseason media poll, Nebraska was 14th. Behind Maryland and USC had a rough trip to the state of Michigan.
Nebraska's tied for the most quad 1 wins in the country right now. Fun fact. And they're 11th in the net ranking.
Okay.
They are one of 4 teams, Michigan, Arizona, and Vanderbilt, that are all undefeated with 4 wins for Q1 victories. So there you go.
All right.
Basketball
We
score.
have more entries that would like to be in the serial killer bracket.
Ooh.
One is local.
Have you seen?
We'll get into.
I have to show you this. The trader bracket on Twitter. These guys made a bracket of like traders, and like the number 1 seed is like Judas, and the number 16 seed is Boston Rob from Survivor. It's awesome. I got
Kawhi Leonard
I
as a
have
2.
to show you. I have to show you this. Some of these matchups, I was dying looking at. So I'll send you that during
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. We'll come back, put a wrap on the show, and add some serial killers, including one local.
Gotta be local.
Got to be local, and you have home field advantage.
Who are you taking in Macbeth versus Bill Belichick?
Wow.
That's tough.
Who's the biggest trader?
I need some edibles for that one.
How about Lane Kiffin versus Nick Saban?
Oh, Lane.
LeBron James versus Tom Sandoval.
Whoa. I will go with Tom Sandoval.
Okay.
What has LeBron ever done?
He went from Cleveland to Miami. That was
He went back to
traitors.
Cleveland though. That kind of softened.
LeBron has not had any stuff off the floor.
Okay, Bob Dylan versus Brett Favre.
Brett Favre every day ends in one.
More painkillers.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, we're back. Put a wrap on Gary and Matt after this in 1620 The Zone. All right, we'll Andy Kennedy will join us tomorrow on the show when we join all of you when we reconvene tomorrow. John Walker will be on the show, and it's a big day for Creighton tomorrow. They'll be in Philadelphia to take on Villanova. That is a monstrous game for Creighton on a bounce back, and Villanova's playing really, really well.
Yeah.
So that'd be an intriguing game as Kevin Willard is on the sidelines for Villanova. So we'll have that to talk about tomorrow. Who knows in the portal? Hit and refresh. Looking, is there a quarterback? Is there a quarterback? Is there a quarterback?
We've had a lot of portal activity in the last 2 hours. I feel like every time I refresh my notifications, Nakos or Thamor are telling me that this guy is going to some SEC school.
Like signing day back in the day.
Yeah. I do want to finish on this note because he is on the Mount Rushmore of a sport in this state. And keep your thoughts and your prayers. Todd Manili, who is one of the greatest wrestlers ever to come out of the state of Nebraska, who was a 4-time state champion in Omaha Skutt, went to Omaha. He was a 3-time Division II champion. He was on the World Junior team or the World National team. He was a junior national champion. He has got in the wrestling community a hell of a legacy. Antrell Taylor, who was at Nebraska from Millard South, and Todd and his dad were key components in Millard South becoming a juggernaut, but helped Antrell Taylor get to where he is today. And he is involved in a car accident. So keep Todd and the family and your thoughts and prayers in the wrestling community because he is a legend. He is an absolute legend. Great, great guy who has given so much back to the sport and also to the Skutt family. It's been a tough year for the Skutt family. The loss of Matt Verzal, Coach Juergens lost one of his children. And now Todd, who was, when Omaha Skutt Wrestling was just dominating, Todd was a focal point of that. But he is on the Mount Rushmore of wrestlers that come out of the state of Nebraska. So please remember that as you go about your day. That is a tough one. Good dude. And keep his family in your thoughts and prayers as well. All right, I hate to finish on that note, but I did want to mention that because people know who Todd is and what he has done in wrestling and what he's done for the community. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be back in at 6 with portal activity. I just saw something.
I know.
Across.
I saw you made that look.
Okay. Crossover is coming up next.